a big move towards regular order is something we promised and committed to.
All right, so Congress now has until Friday, February 13th. Yes, Congress has until Friday, February 13th to reach a broader agreement on Homeland Security funding. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got the rain and crashes getting in the way on the way home today. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 crashes on I-24. Woodbine, left lane block. They're westbound at 440. Then in Smyrna, left shoulder block, eastbound at Sam Ridley Parkway. East Bank downtown going westbound at Jefferson Street. And then the left lane block, 24 eastbound at Briley Parkway. B&A, exit ramp blocked by a crash. That's going to be 40 eastbound right there at 216A. West Nashville, 40 eastbound. There's a crash there at 46th Avenue, 51st Avenue. Berry Hill, can't leave out I-65. Left shoulder blocked by a crash, 65 northbound at Armory Drive. I'm Ken Weaver.
Okay, rise and shine, campers, because it's cold out.
No.
No, we're doing it. I thought we were doing it again.
No, we're not doing it again.
Because
It is
it's great. It's
February
like-
3rd,
Right.
Tuesday, February 3rd. It is show 970 of the Matt Murphy Show, and we thank you
Rise and shine.
for joining us. And
Woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day.
what?
It's Groundhog Day.
Nope.
It just gives me great pleasure. Hello, Jackson. How are you?
Better now.
Okay, okie dokie, very good. Hey, it's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and we're pleased that you've decided to join us. Yes, it is Tuesday. It is February 3rd. Can we just get a nice swell just one last time so we can all relish in the day that was Groundhog Day and our big celebration yesterday? Can we just get one more swell? Ken didn't hear it. We tried to do it one more time, Ken, and Jackson put the big old kibosh on it.
Oh, Brother Jackson.
I know. He's a fun spoiler. I almost spit grape soda all over him earlier today, Ken. I mean, it was really close.
Woo! What happened?
It was one of those delicious Welch's grape ghost energy drinks.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love them because it combines two of my favorite things, energy drink and grape soda, Welch's grape soda. And it went down wrong, and Jackson was sitting in front of me, and Jackson watched as I mean, it was close. I mean, it was and then,
I almost went home, Ken.
Jackson said if I had spit grape energy drink all over him, he would have gone home.
Yeah, it would have just been a try again tomorrow type of thing.
No questions asked.
I'd like that every day.
I feel,
I'll try that again tomorrow.
I feel like that's deserved if you spit on me.
Yeah, no, come on. I didn't mean to spit on you. If I meant to spit on you,
I wouldn't be mad at you. I just wouldn't. I'm not doing a 4-hour show with.
You're just gonna walk it.
Yeah,
you could. I mean, you could clean it up. I think you'd stay here.
You'd be sticky.
Yeah, by about 3:45.
I think you would stay here if for nothing else to ridicule me for 4 hours.
Yeah, Brother Jackson might do that.
Yeah, that would be fun. Speaking of ridicule, we've got a lot to say about. Hey, imagine you talk about just calling it a day, going on home for the day, trying again tomorrow. It feels like that's what NES is doing. Slowly but surely, people's power's coming back on. Isn't that nice? I had somebody tell me today. I was transacting business earlier today, and I was picking up something, and the fella said I would have had it done earlier, but I haven't had power for the last 10 days, and my wife just told me that it came on an hour ago at the house. I'm like, well, isn't that nice? My goodness gracious. We've got a press conference happening at 4:35 this afternoon. We'll obviously share that with you. We're going to carry it live for you. I say 4:35 because we've got the bottom of the hour news, but whenever it hits.
Well, that'll be news.
Well, yeah.
So if it starts then, we'll hit it.
Yeah, we'll go with it. So 4:30 is the slated time. What is the chances that this Teresa Broyles Applin is not conducting the press conference? I think she probably is.
I think she is. I know we have not seen we haven't seen that fella Brent. What was it, Brent Baker?
Mm-hmm.
We have not seen him since the one last week where he was telling everybody he went to college with all of these other heads of utility companies, and they're all wanting to help.
Well, that's nice, Brent. Brent Baker. Somebody told me a story about him yesterday that was not very flattering. I don't know the guy. All I know is that he was on with us 2 days, last Monday, last Tuesday, and then Wednesday he ghosted us and then refused to come back on the show because we had some critical questions about the performance of Nashville Electric Service early on in this process, which obviously most of us have very, very strong questions regarding exactly how they've handled their business. They don't seem to have handled their business very well. I mean, I'm not even trying to hate on people. I'm just telling you, if you can't do the job that you're paid to do, then maybe you need to go do another job, and we need to find somebody that can do it. And yes, I'm talking to Teresa Broyles Applin, and I'm talking to Brent Baker, and I'm talking to everybody else in management over there at NES. And thank you to the linemen. Thank you to the hardworking linemen. Thank you to the people out in the field. Every single one of you that are working your butts off to get our power back on. For those who still don't have it, we certainly appreciate you. This is not about you. They try to make it about you, and I hate them even more for it. Because they shield themselves behind the yellow vest, right? They take a bunch of yellow vest hard hat guys and they put them in front of them, and then they say, "Hey, if you criticize us, you're criticizing them," and everybody knows that's not true, but that's what they do. And then this lady lies to us last night. I'm trying to get my Super Talk TV thing up and running there, Jackson, because I want to play this lady, Teresa Broyles Applin. Was on last night. She posted this on the Nashville Electric Service X Machine page, where she have you sent it to me or no? You doing it now? Okay, you're doing it. She sends this out last night, late into the evening, and basically tells us that they told us a lie when they put out their annual report discussing their budgets. So. That's what we are to understand, that they lied to us when they put out their budgets because their budgets indicated that they had a 7.4 I think it was, $1 million savings in vegetation cleanup and tree trimming. That they had spent 7.4, it was like 21 to 14, $7.4 million less last year in tree trimming than they had the previous year. And we're like, oh my goodness, maybe this is part of the problem. Maybe this is why you had so many issues with downed trees that created power line issues that caused telephone poles to go down, power poles to go down, and then there you go. Maybe that was the whole problem. She comes on last night and says, no, that's not true. And then we're like, what do you mean that's not true? That's not true. You're the one that put out that information. We're using your information. So how can your information not be true? Did I repost that? I know I did. Oh, yeah. This is also awesome. Yeah, there was a post about 3 bucket trucks sitting under somebody's 90-year-old grandma's house. Let's see. No, I didn't repost it. I got to find it. So let me find it on the Nashville Electric Service website, because you got to see her. You got to see her when you do. Anyway, we've got that going on today. We will speak with Jason Cole, who is the mayor of Laverne, Tennessee, at 3:35. He is none too pleased with the performance of NES, none too pleased with the performance, frankly, of Mayor Freddie O'Connell. And so we'll see what he has to say at 3:35 regarding this very important story. At 4:05 this afternoon, we'll tilt our attention away from that and toward the 917 Society and to the 250th birthday of the United States of America. And we will welcome Joni Bryan in studio with us, who is the head of the 917 Society. She'll tell you all about it. Brenda Willis will be here with her as well. 4:35, of course, is that NES press conference. We're going to carry, or 4:30-ish, we'll carry that for you live. And then Congressman Tim Burchett with us to talk about the lack of a government shutdown. That's good news, I suppose, depending on your perspective, and secondarily to talk to us about Middle Tennessee and how we can be better in terms of electric service. Here's that post from last night. It's about 2 minutes of your time, but it's well worth the listen. Here's Teresa Broyle-Zaplin explaining to us that NES is either lying to us now or was lying to us then.
Hello. I'm Teresa Broyle-Zaplin, President and CEO of Nashville Electric Service. Tremendous progress has been made today in terms of restoring power and collaborating with city leaders for a path forward. We committed to bringing you estimated restoration projections, and I can report that we made up ground and are now ahead of expectations. As of today, power has been restored to more than 90% of our customers.
They're ahead of expectations, so y'all just shut your mouths. Is that what she said? I think that's what she said.
And I can report that we made up ground and are now ahead of expectations. As of today, power has been restored to more than 90% of our customers. That means dedicated crews working around the clock have turned the power back on for more than 200,000 customers. That includes metro schools, all of which now have power. Those of you still without power are our top priority. We won't stop until power is restored for every customer that can receive it. If you have questions about whether your home can receive power, it may involve damage to the equipment attached to your home or residence. We have information on our website that explains that. We also have a video that could be helpful. We are updating restoration completion dates by zip code twice a day on our website to give customers personalized information. I want to clear up a question we've been asked frequently about reducing the budget from our vegetation management and tree trimming budget. That is false. That budget was actually increased every year for the past 4 years, as vegetation management is an integral part of our year-round efforts to provide power.
Okay, so she just out and out says that's a false statement. That we have reduced our budget. Well, the budget year to year went down by $7.4 million. So surely she's now going to explain to us why their own budget reported that they spent $7.4 million less last year than the year before on vegetation remediation.
We know this weather event has
you're not going to mention it? Oh, okay.
Hardship
Okay.
on our community.
Uh-huh.
So NES, we are stopping disconnections for non-payment and waiving late fees indefinitely. And if you are experiencing an extended outage, I want to remind you that you are never charged for power you don't use. Finally, I want to thank all of our employees and line workers.
She wants to let you know that you're not charged for. Well, thank you for nothing, lady. I mean, why in the hell would we think that we are charged for power that we don't use? What we want to make sure is that we are reimbursed or compensated for. I mean, well, goodness gracious.
Those from right here in Nashville and those who've come to help us from other states. We added an additional 500 line workers today, bringing our total to over 1,700. This is our largest storm response in NES history, but we are also responding to the largest outage event in NES history.
The reason that it was the largest outage event in NES history, many are speculating, is because of your determination that you would cut the budget for vegetation remediation or for tree trimming over the years, and that you were so obsessed with, quote unquote, protecting the canopy since you have been CEO of this organization. I'm also to understand that you were some 8 to 12 months behind in the necessary remediation. Anyway, I'm done with the video there, Jackson. I don't know if you've still got it up or not. But so, my goodness gracious, there's a lot to unpack there. We'll take your telephone calls. We'll talk to Jason Cole. We'll continue to follow this story, and we'll continue to cover this story because it's the most important thing going on in Middle Tennessee right now. And frankly, I understand that only 15,000 customers, I say only 15,000 households are without power right now, but it remains that we discuss what needs to happen next. And we will continue to do so on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell responds to the General Assembly leadership ready to act to make sure this type of winter storm response never happens again. Coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. You can find us, obviously, on your radio dial. We'd love to have you. From Alabama to Kentucky and all points in between. I like to say border to border on 99.7 FM. We're also on TuneIn. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeart. We're on really all of your apps. If you have an app that you use to download news or listen to news, music, information, we're there. And if we're not there, tell us and we'll get there. We're on the most of them, certainly. We have our own app, Supertalk 99.7 WTN, where you can join us and take us wherever you want to go on your mobile device. And then, of course, there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. You can go over there. There's an insane chat party that happens every day on the YouTube channel. And we ask if you go over there and if you join in on the chat party, thank you very much. I try to dip in from time to time when I can. And the chat party involves liking and or subscribing. Give us the old thumbs up, which will. Hey, Ken, what's the rate today on the thumbs up?
Absolutely nothing, boys. Yes.
Nothing. Just a blip, a moment of your time. Cost you nothing. So give us the old thumbs up over there on the YouTube chat, and we would appreciate that. 26 minutes after the hour, Caleb wants to talk about Nashville Electric Service. Caleb, you're first up on the radio.
Hey, what's going on, Matt? So, I don't know whose voice is more annoying, Billie Eilish or that Teresa woman from NES. I don't know which one drives me crazier, but it's just absolutely ridiculous that they've cut their budget, supposedly, and it's still behind. There's all sorts of indiscrepancies that it looks like. And, I mean, I'm convinced that there's some sort of embezzling or fraud or some sort of crap going on, and hopefully an investigation will figure that out. But I have my own construction business, and I've got customers that are still living in their shed with a heater. Another one who's living in his fireplace and is spending 25 gallons worth of diesel a day to power a generator to power his home. Like, who's going to pay these people back for all this? I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous to see the kind of mess going on and then have people pee on you and try to tell you it's raining.
Well, and I would love to hear the question today, and I'm certain that an intrepid reporter there at the news conference will ask it. We'll carry it for you live. Okay, so your own report stated that you spent $7 million less last year than you did the year before on vegetation/tree trimming. And last night, your CEO came out and said that wasn't true. So were you lying then, or are you lying now?
Seems like they just lie all the time. Who really knows? So get an investigation to come out, and maybe we can actually get a truth out of it. But, I mean, I'm not sure old Fancy Freddy's going to really.
Well, and this whole, I mean, we're gonna. I mean, it just smacks of bureaucratic.
Oh yeah,
just nothingness, right? When you talk to me about, we're going to have a commission and we're going to appoint a task force, which is going to have a blue ribbon committee, and that blue ribbon committee is going to report back to the greater body, and the body, and they're going to write up a report. I mean, and then 8 months later, nobody will do anything.
Nothing. It seems like the elite, even in all sorts of things with the Epsteins, with crap with Hillary back in 2016, like the elite just to get away with everything. And, you might as well just figure, well, we'll hear about it for a couple weeks and then it'll be gone. Just nothing ever happens.
Well, but I appreciate how magnanimous and gracious and generous they are to report to us that we will not be charged for electricity that we do not use. Well, isn't that wonderful? Thank you so much. I also appreciate the fact that you're not going to turn our power off. Did you hear what the woman said last night? She said, "Don't worry, we're not gonna initiate disconnect power outages." Well, you got 15,000 customers that don't have power that's supposed to have powers. I don't think now's the time to talk about disconnect notices. I think you just do that and everyone assumes that we're going to suspend all of that until we get the damn power back on. One would think. But, I guess anything you can do to make yourself feel better. Nashville Electric Service, according to the Tennessee Star, and kudos to Michael Leahy and his team because they've been digging some good information. Nashville Electric Service was informed last November that the vegetation management was, quote, inadequate and was considered one of the company's highest reliability risks, according to a meeting agenda for the Audit and Ethics Committee, which went on to state that the matter was assigned to an NAS executive who had retired weeks before the meeting was held. You hear me correctly now? Page 40 of the agenda, in its enterprise risk management section, NES included the vegetation management issue as an item with an aggregated risk score of 5.2, which the report stated meant that it was automatically flagged and it needed to be sent to the company's board. The NES report described the issue as, quote, inadequate vegetation management and maintenance of the distribution system, increasing frequency and duration of outages. In addition to better informing the public of the need to trim trees, the report recommended that NES established a, quote, vegetation management program with trimming guidelines and funding to maintain trimming schedules. It then called for the municipality-owned utility to prioritize funding for maintenance, recommended the regular evaluation and replacement of utility poles. It also acknowledged insufficient trimming occurred in 2025. Quote, the vegetation management section was placed under new management in FY24. This change resulted in a streamlined and efficient processes. Despite additional changes in 2025, NES reported that, quote, unforeseen challenges prevented trimming sufficient miles to obtain a 3 to 4 year trim cycle. Before Winter Storm Fern, the report indicated that the company was finally on track to complete its desired trimming cycle later this year. Well, that never happened. Well, I guess Mother Nature trimmed the trees for you, huh? It's 32 after the hour. I got to go to the news at Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Still got a lot of rain out there in Middle Tennessee. Some of the heaviest right over Nashville. Full forecast. Traffic updates in 5 minutes. Also in Nashville, still at least 15,000 without power, 10 days out from the winter storm. Death toll is at 25 statewide. Mayor Freddie O'Connell asked today about leadership in the General Assembly, ready to act to make sure this type of response to a winter storm never happens again.
Yeah, we have many assets that I think there's a lot of discussion about whether they are local or regional assets. We know NES does have a service area that expands beyond the boundaries of Nashville and Davidson County. But again, I'm going to say as we work through this, our preference is always going to be to have local control over things that are local assets.
Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton saying NES lacked a strategic disaster plan and focused on issues like a DEI contract instead of public safety, and that executives at NES be removed. Also, the members of the Metro Board that governs NES be removed. Meanwhile, NES will hold a news conference today at 4:30. The search continues for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie. Arizona officials say she was kidnapped over the weekend.
Nancy Guthrie has been missing since early Sunday morning. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nano says leads are pouring in, but right now
we got to find her, and we got to work hard to do that.
He says there is no DNA to indicate suspects who may have been in the house. No information on cars seen in the area. No tire tracks or footprints. The FBI is analyzing cell phone and cell tower data. When pressed by ABC if there is a ransom demand that has come in, the sheriff would only say, we're looking at all leads. Alex Stone, ABC News.
They're still waiting to try to get into the home surveillance cameras. They've not been able to access those images as of yet. In our nation's capital, House Speaker Mike Johnson celebrating the passage of the government spending package that averts a government shutdown.
The president, the White House, have engaged in good faith with Democrats in the Senate, and they've said they would negotiate on the final bill, the Homeland Bill.
Yeah, that's going to be coming up February 13th. That's the deadline to reach a broader agreement there on Homeland Security funding. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Still raining, and it may be leading to some crashes out there. We've got a lot of them. 24 eastbound at Briley Parkway, right shoulder's blocked. Woodbine, shoulder blocked by a crash. 24 westbound at I-440. Over by the airport, Briley Parkway southbound at I-40. Glencliff, Briley Parkway southbound at 24. East Bank got a wreck. 24 westbound at Jefferson Street. Talbot's Corner, right lane blocked by a crash. 65 northbound past 24 downtown. That's 65 northbound past 24. Berry Hill got a crash, left shoulder block, 65 northbound at Armory Drive. Clarksville got a crash, right shoulder block, 24 westbound at Wilma Rudolph. B&A off-ramp partially blocked by a crash, 40 eastbound. They're at 216A. And in Cool Springs, a one-vehicle accident, 65 northbound past Moores Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, friends, the storms have come and gone, and maybe many of you have been sitting at home listening to the radio and thinking about your weight loss journey and thinking about how to maybe give yourself a boost or maybe get a jump start on the weight loss that you tried to start doing at the beginning of the year, but it just hasn't gone right for you. I mean, how's the first month going? Well, I have an answer for you, and it's with Contours and Contours LLC. Here's the deal, folks. We can eat right. We can exercise. Bottom line is you reach a certain age, and sometimes you need a little help. You need a little bump to get the weight off or to get the pounds off or the inches off. And my friends at Contours and Cool Springs are here to help both men and women. They can get the fat off. Their ultra slim body contouring guarantees you'll lose 2 inches on the first treatment. And I want to emphasize that. That's 2 inches on your midsection first treatment, or your first treatment is free. I went in and I did this, and I lost 2.67 inches around my midsection first treatment. It's non-invasive. It does not hurt. The results are instantaneous. Friends, I went through the process, and it works. I wouldn't be telling you otherwise if it did not. So I want you to go in. I want you to say hello to Stephanie and Keith and the rest of the team at Contours. Schedule an appointment today. A $99 Belly Buster special is being run for your first treatment. Go and see them. 615-236-9960. Call that number today. 615-236-9960 or online at contoursllc.com. After all, what do you have to lose but inches? You know, as funny as Jackson is on air, I sometimes think you're funnier off air. I will not say who Jackson was referring to, but Jackson just said that he said, well, saying that he's worthless is an insult to worthless people. That's pretty funny. He is not talking about anyone that we've brought up over the course of the last 20 or 30 minutes or so. He was talking about someone completely unrelated to the radio show today, so don't try to put two and two together. 41 minutes after the hour, I mentioned coming up Joni Bryan with the 917 Society, what a wonderful organization it is. I've just found out a little bit about it, and we're going to have her on along with our good friend Brenda Willis to talk about some activities for the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. But right now, we welcome Laverne Mayor Jason Cole to the show, who is none too pleased about the NES actions, preparation, and reaction to the storm. And we wanted to talk to him about how Laverne is making out. Mayor Cole, good afternoon. Welcome in. How are you?
I am doing okay. How about yourself, sir?
Doing well. Thank you for being on with us. I appreciate a mayor in our community coming on in a timely fashion. It's a difficult task to get some local leadership on these days, as you might expect. They're very busy. I don't know what they're doing necessarily, but they're very busy. Tell us about how Laverne made out during the storm and in the aftermath of it.
Well, during the storm, just like everyone else, we were hit hard. Our public works team did a phenomenal job keeping the roads clear, keeping trees off of most roads. But unfortunately, that key element of electricity was very much lacking on our NES side of town. Our Middle Tennessee portion had virtually no outages.
Yeah, walk me through, as mayor of Laverne, you watch this happen. You're trying to coordinate emergency services. You're trying to coordinate preparedness on the front end, and you're reacting to what's going down on the back end. And then you watch, and at what point, Jason, did you realize, man, there is a distinct difference between how MTE is handling this situation versus NES?
Well, we started planning for this weather event a week and a half to 2 weeks before it hit, because the forecasts were all out there. We were actually planning for worst weather. MTE was very proactive. They had reached out, kind of explained what was going on, but as usual with NES, we didn't hear a peep. I've just honestly, I've been in office as mayor for 7 years. And last night was the first time that the CEO has actually picked the phone and called my office at all. And sadly, she did it after 8 o'clock, so I didn't get in touch with her, but I'm still waiting for that call back. But they had a plan, and NES didn't seem to have a plan. I mean, they had 120 NES linemen and 40 contractors day one, with 230,000 people out of power. That's not a plan. That's planning for failure.
Well, it's no doubt frustrating, and we've gone over some of the figures, and it is infuriating that we've yet to get an answer as to why in the world there were not more linemen that were brought in prior to the storm. We saw other organizations, other electric companies do it around our community, and then around the Southeast, we've seen similar-sized cities report that they had, tens of thousands of linemen ready to go in the event that they had icing and storm situations. So, you're a city of about what, 40,000, a little less than 40,000?
42,000.
42,000. How many folks are on MTE versus NES, roughly?
It's about 80-20 split. 20% MTE, 80% NES.
And what are your constituents telling you regarding response from Nashville Electric? Has it been just as bad as what you've received, I would assume, Mayor?
Yes, they have told me they have felt forgotten. They've constantly asked me and thanked me for making sure that they're not forgotten in the community. That NES just does not respond. That many times it takes them days just to get a text back that says, yes, they've recorded their outage. I mean, this is not a coherent system that works with the community for what they're doing, and it has to be reevaluated. The whole the whole emergency planning aspect of it has to be reevaluated, and they need more stakeholders. I know the mayor of Nashville appoints a board to govern NES, but in all honesty, that doesn't represent Laverne. It doesn't represent Sumner County or Cheatham County or the other areas where NES serves thousands of people, yet they have no say in these operations.
So we had Senator Marsha Blackburn on earlier in the week. I asked her a simple question, and she answered it very simply. Do we need new leadership? Is it time for Teresa Broyles-Applin to be removed from her position as CEO? And is it time to see new leadership come in? Her response was an immediate yes. I've not been able to ask Mayor Freddie O'Connell because, sadly, after having Freddie on the day after the event happened last Monday, he has not, quote unquote, had the time for us. But I'll ask you, Mayor Cole, do you believe that there needs to be new leadership at NES?
Absolutely.
And that, I would assume, cannot come soon enough for you?
That should have been done yesterday.
What about the idea, and we've floated the idea with a number of people, that we need to regionalize this appointing authority. Why in the world Davidson County has sole appointing authority over an organization that affects your constituents, Mayor, and they don't really have any say? I mean, they look to you as their elected mayor for leadership, and you're providing as much leadership as you possibly can, everything that I've seen at very least. But when you don't have any control over who's over NES, then there's precious little you can do about their failures.
Correct, and it's leaving us, our community, in the dark, both literally and figuratively.
No doubt. So, I mean, I would assume that you would prefer to have some level of say, whatever that might be, to regionalize the Nashville Electric Service in a way that gives the people of Laverne and Rutherford County a little more say in all of this?
Yes.
What do you need right now?
Well, we need the last of our people to get power. I've actually reached out about obtaining some of the generators. Haven't heard back yet about that for some of our residents. We've got about 70 left without power, including one terminal patient who's been dealing with cancer. And then in the long run, we need communication from NES and from Nashville, not just in times of emergency, but we need ongoing communication. There should be a partnership. There shouldn't be, we wait for disaster to hit and then start talking.
Well, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Well, please let us know if there's anything we can do for Laverne. Great folks down there. We need to get your power back on, all of your power back on. I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate you being so responsive to your constituents, Mayor, and frankly, being very direct to those that need to be held responsible. I think we need that type of direct approach moving forward. That's what the leadership is, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. There's Jason Cole, who is the mayor of Laverne, joining us for a few good minutes to talk about his constituents who remain without power as a result of NES. Let's talk with Butch real quick before we go to a timeout. Hey, Butch, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Matt. Matthew, I was going to tell you, I used to work for Houston Lighting and Power in Houston, Texas, which has way more customers than Nashville by probably tenfold. And I work what you call the distribution center or trouble board. The problem is not the upper echelon. The problem is poor training in that department. Because even when the lights are out, you can run temporary cables to get critical customers on, if they're on dialysis or whatever. Problem is the trouble board is not up to par. They should have a lot of RC switches, it's remote control switches, to be able to switch the power around and narrow the grid down. And as far as the trees go, and some people love trees. Everybody loves trees. But the problem is when they come through, with their permission, without their permission, they're cutting the trees down because the trees will grow back. The problem is there's too much politics in their electrical company. They got the NES, even MTE. For a while they had problems. So they have to resolve it from internal, not with the board. The board is not the problem. The problem is the trouble board or the distribution center. That's my opinion on it. And the reason I know, I worked there many years. and we did not have that problem.
You worked at NES?
Negative. I worked at Houston Light and Power, which is a lot bigger, which is Reliant Energy now. And I worked there, what do you call it, the distribution center or the trouble board. The problem is the trouble board, which is like a war room with, they have maps on the wall, all the distribution lines.
Butch.
Yes, sir.
Who's responsible for that?
Actually, they are. The ones in the trouble board.
Who's responsible for what happens at Nashville Electric Service?
All right. So as far as the spokesperson, she has no power. I'm
not talking about the spokesperson. I'm talking about the CEO. What does that stand for, Butch?
Well, I know exactly what it stands for.
Well, tell me what it stands for.
The CEO is the big boss.
What does CEO stand for?
The boss man of the company. But the
What do the letters stand for? Do you know?
I know exactly what it stands for.
Well, then tell me. Then tell me.
Okay. Well, don't talk over me. I explain to you. The problem is the CEO does not know what he's doing, but the problem is not the CEO.
It's not a he, it's a C. It's not a he, it's a C, a she. What does it stand for?
I don't care what you use. It don't matter.
All right. Butch, thank you for your time today. I appreciate your experience in Houston, and I appreciate your expertise in the field. I understand that when the nuts and bolts are discussed, there's I get it. I get what you're saying. CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer. That person is responsible for everything that happens in a given organization or system. And I just don't have any appetite to forgive that right now. I understand that perhaps you have a level of expertise that I do not have regarding the specifics of how you work a trouble board in an electrical grid. I don't believe for a second that the CEO of Nashville Electric Service has more knowledge than I do about it, and I would expect that the CEO of that organization would. I would expect that that person would put people in play. I don't pretend that I understand everything about running a radio station. But as program director of a radio station for many years, I'm not program director of Supertalk 99.7, I also understood that it was my responsibility to make sure that there were people in place that did. To make sure that if there is a crisis, that we gather those people and we make sure that we are handling the crisis to the best of our ability, that we prepare for that crisis prior to the event occurring. The problem wasn't the lineman. It was the lack of linemen. The problem wasn't the lineman. The problem was the lack of linemen. There were like less than 200 linemen staged prior to this event. It was an event that we 8-10 days out knew would be a problem. So I'm not trying to be short with you, but this suggestion that, oh, well, she's not you don't even know that it's a she, by the way. So I would invite you to kind of catch up on the story and understand the dynamics of who this person is, what she did, what she didn't do to prepare, what she was focused on, which was renewable energy and renewable resources and regenerative energy and canopy and all that crap. It's 54 after the hour. We will suspend NES talk and we'll move to a conversation about the Constitution of the United States of America here in just a moment. But we'll come back to NES at 4:30 as they have a press conference scheduled, and we will carry that for you live. It's Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Legendary coach Lou Holtz once said, before people spend money, they ask 3 questions. Can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? And do you care about me? Well, friends, When I talk about Eurofix, I can affirmatively tell you that all three answers to all three questions are a bold yes, yes, yes. Back in 1999, owner Aaron Stokes was by himself in a one-car garage in downtown Franklin. A few months later, Aaron moved to a shop and a barn behind his house so he could stay close to his family while building his dream of offering the best service on European automobiles at below dealer pricing. Flash forward to today, the barn's long gone, and Eurofix is thriving. 5 separate locations: Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet, with more to come. All work comes with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty, plus a rental car available with every appointment. Go ahead and ask yourself, can you trust them? Yes. Do they care? Yes. Are they committed to excellence? Of course they are. Yes, yes, yes. Call or book today, myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now at Nashville, still at least 15,000 without power. 10 days out from the winter storm. The death toll statewide stands at 25. Meanwhile, frustration growing with NES and the local Metro board that governs it. Mayor Freddie O'Connell, during his briefing today, was asked for response to leading state lawmakers who say they will explore every option available with the stance that NES leadership and those board members be removed.
As we work through this, our preference is always going to be to have local control over things that are local assets.
Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton says NES lacked a strategic disaster plan and focused on issues like a DEI contract instead of public safety. And NES, by the way, we expect to hold a news conference here in half an hour, and we plan to carry that for you live right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In our nation's capital, House Speaker Mike Johnson celebrated the passage of the government spending package and appeared optimistic about the negotiations on Department of Homeland Security funding.
This is no time to play games with that funding. We hope that they will operate in good faith over the next 10 days as we negotiate this.
Well, at the same time, the brothers of Renee Good testified at a forum hosted by a couple of Democratic Congress members.
When I think of Renee, I think of dandelions and sunlight. Dandelions don't ask permission to grow. They push through cracks.
Lawmakers have until Friday, February 13th, to reach a broader agreement on Homeland Security funding. And the urgent investigation's ongoing to find Nancy Guthrie, the mother of NBC Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, who the sheriff in Pima County, Arizona, says was kidnapped over the weekend.
Chris Nanos telling reporters his investigators don't know where Nancy Guthrie is. In a new briefing, he said there is no DNA that has come back indicating people other than Guthrie were in the home. There are no tire tracks or footprints and no information on cars seen in the area. When pressed by ABC News whether a ransom demand has come in, Nanos would only say,
"We're following all leads we have. That's all I can tell you."
The sheriff says lots of leads are coming in and the FBI is analyzing cell phone, cell tower information and conducting interviews. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Back here in Nashville, big investigation underway after boats damaged this morning in a fire at Elm Hill Marina. A houseboat caught fire, then spread to the dock, damaging the other vessels, including this man who tells Channel 4.
Our neighbor lives next door to us that's inside of his boat that lives there a lot of the times. And so they woke him up, got him out of the boat. So he was running up and down the dock, trying to untie boats as best he could and let them float out in the water.
Yeah, the people that woke that man up were on the houseboat that caught fire initially. No injuries reported, but the damage still being assessed. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Let's run down the list of crashes on I-24. First, we got westbound in Antioch at Harding Place, eastbound in Smyrna at Sam Ridley, westbound at Maxey Road in Robertson County, eastbound on Hickory Hollow Parkway in Antioch, and then westbound, you got the center lane block there at I-440. Can't leave out 65, northbound past I-24 downtown, accident there on the right shoulder. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good afternoon. Welcome back. It is 7 minutes after 4 o'clock. Glad to have you with us this afternoon. It is a little bit rainy, but that's kind of good news because that rain is kind of getting the ice out of there. And wherever there is ice, hopefully that has become water and you don't have to worry about it anymore. I hope that your power's on. If it's not, we'll cover some more of that coming up at about 4:30 or so as Nashville Electric Service has announced they're having a press conference. We're carrying that for you live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Without further ado, however, we scheduled this conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very excited to have it because, as you well know, 2026 is the 250th birthday of these United States of America. And a good friend of mine, Brenda Willis, called me some weeks ago, maybe some months ago, and said, I've got to introduce you to someone. You need to have her on the radio. We need to talk about this throughout the course of 2026 because it is the 250th anniversary, 250th birthday, and I can think of no better person to discuss the importance of our country, our freedoms, our liberties, and how they generate from God through the Constitution and to us than a woman by the name of Joni Bryan. And Brenda Willis and Joni Bryan join us in studio. Hello, ladies. How are y'all?
Great. I'm great, Matt. How are you?
Brenda, talk to me about this fine young woman that you've brought to me.
You know what's funny? As I was sitting here, I was trying to figure out when I first met you. We were invited to perform at one of your 917 I don't know, galas, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe at Ming Wang's house?
I think it was Dr. Wang's house.
It was just such a fun night, and we were just introduced to so many amazing people. And I remember my kids sitting around, I don't even remember who, and them telling us about the St. Paul's Chapel. And they told, have you heard the miracle of St. Paul's Chapel? They're like, no. And so they're all sitting around somebody or other and told them that story. But I'm just really here not to say anything other than I want to introduce you to Joni Bryan, and she has such an amazing organization, ministry, I would call it, and such a calling on her life to do something in this country that's very significant. So, Joni, take it away.
Okay, right. Well, thank you.
Joni, talk to me about, we talked briefly over the phone about the inspiration behind the 917 Society. For those that don't know the organization and how you came to create it, just talk to us about it.
Okay, all right. Well, I was living in downtown Nashville, just gotten divorced, and I was working at a retirement community. And one of the residents there had ran for governor. And one day we were talking about a court case, and he pulled out a pocket constitution, and he put it in my face, and he said, my dear, when is the last time you read your constitution? And I said, I never have. And that started me questioning why. I couldn't understand why. I have an education. My degree's in biology and chemistry, and I was headed to medical school, but I ended up getting married and had a baby and became a social worker instead. And so I was trying to figure out, why have I never read it? I remember in 8th grade, Mrs. Alexander's class, having bits and pieces of the Bill of Rights, and that was it. And so I started studying and I started asking questions. And I was also driving Uber on the side when Uber first came out. And so I would put pocket constitutions in my Uber. And when I would pick up people in Nashville, I would give them a constitution. I would ask them, have you ever read it? And 99 out of 100 have never read it. And it was a lot of fun because there were many nights at 2 in the morning when I was doing late nights. They'd think, Dolly Parton's picking me up, so we had a lot of fun. But I learned a lot. And so I learned about a federal mandate. It's 108-447. It says all schools, K through 12, all universities and all federal employees are to have a program on the Constitution on or around September 17th every year. And guess what? It rarely happens. And I never had Constitution Day. Did you guys have Constitution Day in school?
I don't remember it.
Okay. No. Every time I asked that question, like, no, we didn't. And so I thought, wow, what if we had a free program? I had been married to a public school teacher for many years, and I was around the kids, and, of course, with my social work background, too. And I thought, what if we had a free program? So I would go to social study teachers' conferences and ask questions. And I said, if we gave you a free program, would you like this? And they were like, yes, overwhelmingly. And so that's how we got started. And I have to tell a little quick thing. When I first started, I was living downtown, and I went to see my congressman because I had no money, no connections, nothing. And I had never been involved in anything that was any remotely political. And so I went to see him, and he said to me, Miss Bryan, he said, nobody cares about the Constitution. And when I left his office, I was in tears. And I just pulled a 14-hour shift.
This is a congressman?
A congressman, yes. U.S. congressman. And I left there. And
I want to ask you who, but I'm not going to.
You can guess, probably. And so I left there, and I thought, I can't do this. I mean, how am I going to do this? And then he did something you don't ever do. He made a Southern woman mad. Because I said, here he is drawing $170-something thousand, and I just worked a 14-hour shift. And I said, your oath is to uphold the Constitution, And so I thought, I'm going to show him. And that's how we got going. And so then I ended up meeting Senator Roberts, and I really thought he was going to shoot me down. And so I told him all about the project. He was a state senator, and he got so excited. And he and Diane got involved, and that really helped me get the confidence to start talking to more people. And then I met Mark Green and just a whole lot of different people.
About what time?
2016.
Okay.
And our first year to distribute constitutions. And the whole premise of the program is really simple. We just want our kids to read it for themselves. It's that simple. We give them their very own copy to carry with them, and we want them to read it for themselves. There's nothing in it, no agenda, no bias. It's the original, wording. It's got the Declaration, the Constitution, the amendments, and the last page is the oath of citizenship. Because if you're born here, you don't take an oath. And we want our kids to know the oath of citizenship. And so it's really, really simple. And so the first year, I drove around middle Tennessee and out of my little Chevy Cruze, I'd Uber, and then I'd drop off constitutions to schools. But then this last year, we gave out over 1 million in all 50 states.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, how in the world did you go from riding around in an Uber, giving out, to random people that you pick up for an Uber ride, constitutions, to over 1 million in all 50 states in that length of time? That has to take a tremendous amount of hard work and tenacity.
Well, it's not me. It's all of us. The 917 Society is a volunteer group, and we have so many wonderful, wonderful donors and people involved. Like she mentioned, Dr. Ming Wang, Lee Beeman has been a big help. There are Founders Club president and vice president. We've got just so many wonderful folks. A lot of our legislators are involved. Some of them even deliver the constitutions to the schools themselves. And now we have groups all over the country. We have AMVETS, we have Moms for Liberty, we have DAR, SAR, all these different community groups that help to get them to the schools. And of course, schools can order direct also on our website. And so that is our focus, is just making sure 8th graders, we focus on 8th grade because in the U.S. curriculum, that's when they're supposed to have Constitution in depth. And so that is our focus, to make sure every 8th grader every year gets their Constitution, because eventually all of our citizens will have read it.
It is. I mean, it occurs to me, and, I gravitate, sadly, I'm like Benjamin Franklin, I gravitate to pessimism. but I think pessimists are more prepared for the worst, and they don't expect the best, but whatever. But it just occurs to me that it's a crying shame that our schools aren't already doing this, but they're not. I mean, and the reality is that you filled a void and filled a need that must happen for our youngsters to understand the basic the building blocks of freedom and individual liberty and where all that comes from and how it is guaranteed and enshrined in the supreme law of the land.
Absolutely. And the reason we want to make sure they place it, we give it to them in their hand, because when he put that Constitution in my face and then I held it, it made the Constitution real to me. It made it tangible. It wasn't just this document in Washington behind a glass. It made it something that it's mine. And so I had a sense of ownership. And that's what we want to create for our children, is a sense of ownership of this document. It's their document.
So how, Joni, do you get to the schools? How does that all work?
Well, we have online. You can go online, and it says order constitutions. You can schools can order direct. 8th grade schools can order direct, and the money we raise is to print and distribute. And so it does not cost the schools a dime. They just order for the school. Or if you have a school in your area that you want to make sure they get them, you can reach out to the school, let them know about the program, and you can even order them and take them to them. So that's where we have a lot of groups like the AMVETS and the Moms for Liberty and all the different groups that actually take them to the schools and help us in that way, because I can ship them a lot easier to a big group, and then they distribute to all the schools.
So forgive me for my simplistic questions, but I was publicly educated in Georgia, so you'll have to catch me up. Tell everyone why the organization is called the 917 Society.
Well, because I wanted it to be all about Constitution Day, which is 9/17, September 17th.
Right. And the reception has been obviously incredible. Do you get a chance to talk to the teachers? Do you get a chance to talk to the professionals that get their hands on copies? Do you get to kind of see the fruit of your labor in terms of the...
Absolutely. And we have online, on top of giving them the Constitution, we have resources. So we have a free resource page. And we just added some really cool lesson plans from one of our teachers, Alan Kessinger at Stewart's Creek Middle School. He's retired military, and he teaches 8th grade there, and he uses our Constitution as a textbook. And so we've got that available for anyone that wants to use it across the country. So we also have a classroom contest. So on our website, you can see the winners of the contest, and the kids really get into it. They love to, dress up or, do skits, different things, send us pictures, and we send them gift cards for the winning classes. So we do get to see that, and we get a lot of feedback from teachers. They love our resource page because it's just a one-stop, there's lesson plans, games, videos, quizzes, anything they want, and it's all free.
So how many times have you read the Constitution now, Johnny?
Oh, I'm all the time. And I don't have it memorized. I have people try to test me. I'm like, I don't have it memorized. I'm not good at memorizing, but I do read it. And there'll be times I'll watch Senate hearings and I'll get it out and I'll be reading. I'm thinking, that is not constitutional.
What do you hope is the greatest takeaway if a child does get their hands on it? Is there anything in particular?
This is something that really, it made me cry last year. And I was in Starbucks, and I don't drink coffee, but I was getting one of those vanilla things. And so a young man came in, and he had a backpack. And I usually wear a pin that says 917. And he saw it, and he said, "Oh, 917." He said, he pulled out of his backpack the Constitution he got in 8th grade, and he was about 20 years old.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I just literally teared up because the teachers tell us that they love these Constitutions, and we've had children get upset when they've lost it or dropped it, and we get requests all the time, not just from the teachers for those children, but the children will take them home, and the parents will want them, or the older siblings will get them, and they'll come back and say, "Can we get some more?" And so this year, with the 250th anniversary, we're going to be letting people order them on Amazon, and if you order them, that will help to fund our project, as well as people can donate, and we'll send you Constitutions if you'd like to have some.
We'll take a quick time out, and when we come back, we'll ask the two ladies about the 250th birthday and what we are doing to celebrate across the country, and what Joni is specifically doing to celebrate as the 917 Society. We'll be back in a moment. It's the Matt Murphy Show, 20 minutes after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Grace Point Healthcare. Affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine in a direct pay format. They say it's modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way, and here's what that means. So there was a time when the insurance companies did not dictate to the doctor's offices around our country how to treat you, right? But sadly, that is the case in more offices than not. The doctors can only do as much as the insurance companies will let them to get to the root cause of your problem or issue, to figure out how to solve the systemic issues behind the symptoms that are often treated at other places. And so the good people at Grace Point Healthcare said, well, what if we did it this way? What if we treat, you pay us, and then you file for your reimbursement with your insurance company? That way, no insurance company gets in the doctor's room with you. No pharmaceutical company gets in the doctor's room with you. And now they've been doing it and just going like gangbusters in Franklin, Tennessee. And I'd encourage you to schedule an appointment with them. You don't have to wait weeks during cold and flu season. They don't believe in it. It's same day or next day service, even for brand new patients. All you have to do is make a call at 599-6868, 599-6868 for more information at Grace Point Healthcare. They do it the right way. They're veteran owned. Absolutely love them. And I strongly encourage, if you're sick, go to Grace Point. Ask them about the Smart Care plan, by the way. $99 a month, and your office visits are absolutely free for the entire year, plus basic labs and diagnostics. And you can pay that with your HSA. 599-6868. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
NES is the target of legislation from Republicans and Democrats in the General Assembly. That and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and we've got the press conference coming up in just a couple of minutes. Joni Bryan and Brenda Willis are in studio with us right now talking about the 917 Society and what a wonderful organization it is, celebrating the Constitution and U.S. citizenship. I'm holding my pocket Constitution right here. The 917 Society is a wonderful educational 501c3. But y'all have got big plans for the 250th birthday of the United States of America. Joni, tell me about it.
Absolutely. Well, we are part of the America 250 Civics Coalition. We just got appointed to that, and Freedom 250. So we're real excited. But we're going to be going to New York City. And so a lot of people don't know this story, and this is a story that I didn't know until one night. And literally, I was woken up with the word St. Paul's Chapel, and I didn't know what it was. And so I was looking online and I thought, what is St. Paul's Chapel? And I learned the story. And George Washington, when he was inaugurated, he walked from Federal Hall with his new Congress down to St. Paul's Chapel, and he prayed and dedicated this country to God. Well, when 9/11 happened, most of us remember those towers and how they fell. Well, when they fell, everything around was destroyed, but St. Paul's Chapel was in that shadow of the Twin Towers, and not a window was broken, not a stone was messed up, and they used that chapel for rescue. The rescue people would be fed and they would sleep there. And they call it the Miracle of St. Paul's Chapel. So we're going up to New York City on April 30th. We'll go that week. We're going to be doing some wonderful tours with Brenda and her group. And we're going to we're taking our own George Washington. Roger McCalman is going with us. And we're going to walk from Federal Hall to St. Paul's Chapel at noon on April 30th and rededicate this country to God.
That's excellent. That's great stuff.
And we've invited the president and his, staff, and so who knows what may happen. So we'll just wait and see. But we're going. A lot of our 917 folks are going, and we're going to go up there, and we're going to do that.
Are you inviting others to go with you? Or are you working on that?
Anybody that wants to go, they can go to our Facebook page and get the information off of it, or they can go to our website, and it has Washington's Walk on the website at 917society.org, and you can get all this great information about it.
Well, I look forward to, because I know you ladies and I were talking in the break, and I want to continue the conversation. I want to try to work with getting a group of Super Talk 99.7 WTN listeners to go, right? I mean, I think it would be awesome if we took like some Murphy minions up there and we went with you and just walked the walk along with you. That'd be so fabulous.
That. And what we're asking is we're getting the word out. At noon, once we rededicate the country to God, we want the churches, we want a joyful noise to go up to heaven, we want the bells to ring all over across the country, wherever anybody is, if they're in their car, if they're at home, we want them to sing, just for a sound to go up to the heavens.
Well, I know that if Brenda is helping you schedule the trip, it'll be a heck of a trip. I mean, and there'll be a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And I've already got people... look, website, I want to go. Addie wants to go. Seriously, can we go?
Yes.
Hey, let us know if we can go. So we're gonna work it out. Y'all calm down. We're gonna get you all the information. We're gonna get you all the details. But just briefly tell people, just for the basic information, they go to the Facebook page. Is that the best place?
They can go to the Facebook page, 917 Society Facebook, and it'll be right there. And you can click on there. You can go ahead and get your deposit in to reserve your spot. It gives you the information about the tour. We'll be going up on Tuesday, coming back on Friday. We'll be touring a lot of other places there, but the chapel, that walk is the big thing that we're doing.
And let me tell you something, folks. Make it a last shot for New York. I mean, if you're like, I would never go to New York by myself. It's wonderful to go in a group of people where it's contained, where you've got there's structure around you, and you do all of that so well, Brenda. Anyway, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about travel. You don't have to worry about getting from here to there.
Right.
It's all taken care of for you. I love it. I love it. We'll talk more about that, Joni. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Well, thank you so much.
And thank you so much for what you do, bringing the Constitution to our young people across America. It's a wonderful thing.
Thank you so much.
And it's good to see Brenda as well. And we'll talk to you guys again.
Sounds great.
All right, we got an NES press conference that's coming up in just a moment. So we'll take a short time out now. And I don't know if we'll get back to that or not. Let me see what. Hold on. All right, I'll tell you what. Short timeout. Might have to break in to the timeout to get to this press conference that's supposedly happening sometime around right now. But we'll get to news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
4:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. We'll get you to that NES press conference as soon as it starts. Meanwhile, Channel 4's Stacey Cameron says NES is the target of legislation in the General Assembly for its response to the winter storm, which has left thousands without power for 10 days now.
I'm standing in a place where Republicans and Democrats rarely see eye to eye, but we have lawmakers on both sides of the aisle coming together on this, calling NES's handling of that storm a disaster that put public safety and lives at risk. And now we're hearing calls for more accountability legislatively for NES that would make it more accountable to lawmakers and the public moving forward.
One bill by Democrat Nashville State Rep Jason Powell would require utilities to publish after-action reports that would openly show where they failed. Republican Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton says lawmakers will enact legislation to change the way NES operates. He wants executives at NES removed, as well as the members of its governing board there at Metro. The urgent investigation ongoing to find Nancy Guthrie, the mother of NBC Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, who the sheriff in Pima County, that is, Arizona, says was kidnapped from her bed.
When Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos was asked by ABC News if a ransom demand has come in, he would only say his teams are following all leads. But he says there is no DNA to indicate who else was in the home, no information on cars seen in the area, no tire tracks or footprints. Nanos saying,
Nancy was taken from her home against her will, and that's where we're at.
He says they're racing to hopefully find her alive, but they don't know where she is. The FBI is analyzing cell phone and cell tower data in the area. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Funding for the Department of Homeland Security has been extended in a bipartisan spending bill signed by the president, but it's only through next Friday as Congress debates whether reforms are needed inside the federal agencies charged with enforcing immigration law. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Woodbine got a stalled vehicle, 24 westbound, right there at I-440. Then in Cedar Hill, Robertson County, a crash. Highway Patrol reporting 24 westbound at Maxey Road. Talbot's Corner, a crash on the right shoulder, 65 northbound up past the northern split. Smyrna got a crash, 24 eastbound at Sam Ridley Parkway. And then in Clarksville, crash on the right shoulder, 24 westbound at Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're going to break into that for just a moment. We are watching the start of the Nashville Electric Service press conference, which is happening right now.
Today I'm going to share the latest progress. Then I will address restoration challenges and key things that customers need to know. And you'll hear from one of our operations managers, Brandon Whitlock, who has been on the front line with our line workers, pushing this restoration progress toward the finish line and doing a lot of the coordination. So valuable to getting the power back on. He's going to tell you what crews are now focused on and give customers a little bit of information about weatherheads. So we will take questions in the end, by the way. So let's start with the restoration progress. As far as power infrastructure damage, Winter Storm Firm will be one for the history books. The greatest damage to our system in the history of the organization. As of today, 96% of our customers area down to 27 square miles. We are glad to report that all of the public schools have power. And much thanks to Adrienne Battle for coordinating with us. We spent a lot of time making sure that we were prioritizing things as she needed, and she was very helpful. Customers need good information, and as a reminder, we are updating our restoration completion dates by zip code twice a day. Let's talk about the latest status of crews working to get everyone back on. Our linemen have been working in ice, frigid temperatures, and today in the rain to get everyone back on. We have close to 1,800 line workers deployed this week, and they continue working in 14 to 16-hour shifts. Thanks to all of our peers and other power companies and contractors from Texas to Florida to Maryland and in between who have sent crews to assist us. A big part of this restoration has been replacing damaged poles. We have 776 broken poles that we've found so far during our restoration efforts. We have replaced 406 of those. It typically takes between 8 and 10 hours for one crew to replace a pole. You can gain some efficiencies if you have several in a row, but it does take an enormous amount of time to replace a pole. And we have lots of those, obviously. I think most of you are aware that down trees have certainly wreaked havoc on our system and have been a major challenge. So we have 350 vegetation management team members that are still focused on cleaning up debris all over our system. Thanks to Mayor O'Connell for assisting us with support and coordination through Metro, including assistance from Metro Water, the Fire Department, MMPD, and NDOT, who has been integral. They have really cleared the roads so our workers can get to where they need to be restoring power. At the state level, we've received an enormous amount of coordination, assistance, and support from TDOT, TEMA, the National Guard, the Department of Agriculture, and at a federal level, FEMA and TVA have been helpful. So appreciate all these resources. TDOT similarly has helped clear roads so we can reach where we need to be working. Also, thanks to a volunteer group called Rubicon for clearing the way so that line workers can access areas to get power back on. So they've been busy with some pretty extensive effort and equipment. And then I want to thank our workforce, who has worked tirelessly since the beginning of this storm to restore power to our customers. They're passionate about our customers, and you can see it in how hard they work. Obviously, a restoration undertaking of this size comes packed with challenges, and Brandon Whitlock, our operations manager, is going to talk about some of those today.
I didn't hear an apology. Did anybody hear an apology? Did anybody hear, hey, we're really sorry that this...
Good afternoon.
Just making sure.
I'd like to start out by saying a huge thank you to my fellow NES employees. You guys answered a very big call. You continue to fight through it. You've worked tireless hours. I'm super proud to be part of this team. Thank you to our municipal aid partners from our neighboring utilities who've come in, stood in line with us and fought. It's been amazing. And thank you to all the contractors who've come from all across the country.
Sound like
some of
conquering
the challenges
heroes.
that we're facing currently, kind of a state of where we're at in the restoration process. As Teresa mentioned, we've continually onboarded additional line workers. We're currently somewhere around 1,800. One of the big asks for us as NES is how do we integrate 1,800 line workers in with our native 200 line workers. It's quite a stretch, as you've heard Brent talk about before. We've successfully done that. We've expanded our resources, integrated them in with us, and daily we work out a work plan for all of those resources so that we can execute that plan and restore power as quickly as we can. Currently, we've been working, of course, most important customers, critical care type resource outages, and then working down into largest outages first. As of this afternoon, our largest individual outage has less than 200 customers. So what that means is these crew sizes are starting to have to shrink down and split apart even smaller and smaller and smaller. So logistically, we've got a lot more moving pieces. We're developing those daily work plans, and we're hitting different areas all across town every day. Additionally, we have added to the attack of the largest customers we have now shifted some resources to attacking the smallest, the individual outage. So you're going to see a lot of the smaller buckets come into individual homes. We're going to be looking at the service wire specifically, the line that runs from our lines out on the street up to the home, up to the weatherhead. We've got a sample of that, and I'll talk about that just in a minute. Right now, those trucks that are hitting those individual calls, they're looking at your meter base, your service, and then our transformer to confirm that it's all intact. So if your meter's not working, they're going to repair what's there. If there's damage to your equipment, I'll go over just 1 second how to cover that. If there's damage on our side, they're repairing that and making it ready, so when we bring the main line back, that customer's going to be hot. So if you see a lot of small trucks coming in, working in and around the homes, you might not get power at that moment, but we've made it ready so that when we bring the main line back, those individual customers will be ready. Just for a brief moment, I'll just touch on weatherhead. Are you okay with that? So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware. If you don't have power, a lot of you are in a neighborhood, you say, my whole neighborhood came back on, but my house didn't. One thing you want to go out is look at your weatherhead. This is the point where you receive power from NES. Our service wire would come in, attach here, typically above the roof line or right near the roof line. From this point down, this is the customer's responsibility. So this would be the weatherhead, the riser pipe, meter base. If this is damaged, if it's pulled away from your home, if it's pulled away and the lines are sagged down, you're going to need to call a licensed electrician, have them come out, stabilize this. It may be that it can be reattached to your home.
Let's focus on what's a you problem.
Service. If they have to replace anything,
yeah, we need to get to the Q&A.
If they have to replace the conductor,
this is so tone deaf.
Electrical release.
Y'all are so tone deaf.
On our website, we can show you how to do that. We have a series of numbers you can call depending on which city or where in the city you're located. And then once you've gotten that electrical release,
y'all
it'll
just
notify
don't
us, and we'll know you're ready to receive power. We'll come back out and we'll connect you. So just want to make sure that everybody who, if you do have damage, you can go ahead and be dealing with that if we haven't gotten to you yet. So does that cover it?
That's excellent, Brandon. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to be able to provide that information to our customers so they can be evaluating what they may need to do and if they have any damage. So in closing, those without power are our top priority. We are working around the clock to get customers restored, and we've made a lot of progress in recent days, but we still have about 15,000 customers out of power that we are working very hard to get back on. Our promise is to continue that for these customers, and we will keep you updated and continue collaborating with all of our restoration partners until we get this successfully completed.
All right, please raise your hand. We'll take questions. We'll go start here, then here.
So customers and now even the Speaker of the House in Tennessee are calling for the resignation of NES management. Do you believe you and other NES executives should resign from your positions after this incident?
Accountability is important, and right now we are in active recovery, but we have plenty of time to do after action review and evaluate things that we could have done better.
Speaking of things you could have done better, I've been looking at an audit, and I want to just give you a chance to talk about that. The audit talks about did NES do enough when it comes to vegetation management, tree trimming prior to this storm? And it said unforeseen challenges prevented trimming sufficient miles in 2025. There was also a budget cut of $7 million. So did NES do enough on things like tree trimming prior to this storm?
Tree trimming has always been an integral part of our power maintenance program. So we've had a pretty aggressive tree trimming program for years. We actually have not cut the budget. The budget has increased every year over the last
Not
4
according
years.
to y'all.
We're spending, I think, $21.6 million this year on tree trimming.
It was $13 million. You're saying you did not cut the budget?
We did not cut the budget for tree trimming. It has increased every year for the last 4 years.
And you think you did enough?
That's not what their own figures say.
I know we have an active tree trimming program, and I personally have not evaluated the miles we've trimmed, but we have certainly been aggressively trimming trees.
Okay, we're going to go here.
I bet you're going to go somewhere else.
Austin Home, also with the Tennessee. Per one of my colleagues, according to your annual reports, though, you spent 33% less dollars
on contract trimming grass from 2023 to 2025 from 21.28 million down to 14.298 million respectively. So clarify, I don't really understand how, kind of stemming from that line of questioning, how that represents an increase, right? Unless, can you clarify, is that a different number than what you're talking about? Or?
It is a different number that I'm talking about. The budgeted number was really the question, and we have not cut the budget in tree trimming. It has increased over every year over the last 4 years. Now, I am aware there was a change in vendor a few years ago that I believe probably resulted in more favorable pricing than was previously in place, but the budget itself has not been touched. It's increased.
If you're under budget, why not spend additional money to get more trees trimmed?
There may be a plan to trim more trees. I mean, I don't know that we weren't trimming additional trees in that case.
Last year you were $4 million. You $18 million budget. You
dig a hole, lady.
$14 million on tree trimming. What could that $4 million have done? How many trees could you have trimmed with that didn't get trimmed?
Well, as I've stated, tree trimming is a critical part of what we do, and we do have a very robust vegetation management program.
Okay, we have some
What's
other
your
folks.
updated timeline on getting all power restored for the customers?
We have, to provide information to our customers, we have the restoration estimates on the website. I believe the current date for that full completion is the 9th. We are working aggressively to try to beat that. We have even more crews joining tomorrow. As I stated earlier, we have 1,800 line workers on our system right now, the most that's ever been on the NES system, and we are adding more over 100 tomorrow.
I have a clarifying question. Are you saying that there's improvement now because you are hiring more linemen from the last press conference?
There are a variety of reasons why we could be seeing some improvement.
Right. Is one of those reasons that you have more linemen now from the last press conference?
Certainly adding line workers can help with your
Have you
time.
done so?
We have added line workers throughout our restoration process as we've been able to safely integrate
And then
them
the follow-up
into our
is,
system.
then why weren't they there to begin with?
Really then is, if you are now able to add more linemen, how are you able to do so when the last press conference it was stated that you were not able to do so because it would be dangerous and they have to be able to
get them, lady, whoever you are.
Understand all of the equipment, all of the different grids and all of those things. What has changed that now you are able to hire more linemen, and why wasn't that the case earlier? That's my specific question.
I think what was stated at the last press conference was we were scaling our workforce. So we were gradually adding line workers as we were able to safely absorb them. So we are simply adding them as part of a plan where we're scaling up.
And are you continuing to scale up then to make the process even faster? What are we looking at? What can we tell the customers that are cold? What can we tell the ones that have children that they don't have a place to shower before school? I'm just wanting to make sure that we're giving this information accurately of how quickly we're getting more linemen.
Sounds like a reporter whose lights are still off.
Again, because this has been a very long
Love it.
process. I come from a cold state originally, and I just have to be honest. People are dying, and people are really hurt at this time. So what can we tell them when it comes to the response of the linemen?
We have an incredible amount of concern for our customers who are out of power and want them restored as quickly as possible. So in recent days, we added 500 linemen yesterday. We have additional linemen we're adding tomorrow. So we are, as we can safely absorb them, we are flooding our system with them. And I think what we talked about the other day was that we have to have someone that is trained on hazardous energy control on our system that can lead the line workers around. We can't just dump them in our system and let them go. System control can't see them. They need clearances from system control. So someone has to be trained on that to lead them. So we had brought additional people in and done an expedited training on hazardous energy control so we could deploy more linemen.
Okay, we're going to go here, then over here, and here, and here.
Thank you. Some residents are saying they're having an easier time putting out signs and getting faster responses than using online responses. Why is that? And what is the workflow like for your online inquiries? Is that true?
For online, we are aware of all of our customers who are without power. And Brandon mentioned something a moment ago that I think is important. You have a lot of customers now that may be the only one in their neighborhood that's out, where they've had their weatherhead damaged and they've had to have an electrician come out. So they're somewhat isolated. We had been getting the large outages restored until we were able to get all of our high voltage lines restored. We were focused on those. We now are kind of splitting the workforce and retooling to have smaller crews to go address those one-off customers and that are kind of by themselves in their neighborhood waiting on power. And they have not been forgotten. We are deploying 2-man crews to go tackle those.
Okay. Is putting out signs something you encourage to get a response if a crew is out in the neighborhood? Do you feel like that is an easier way for people to get you guys to come in?
Not necessarily. Our crews are deployed to where they are most needed, and when they're working in an area, they have a schedule of places they're going to be. I heard about the signs yesterday, and I suspect it's that some of them have some sympathy for people and are stopping to help. So I don't encourage it, but it can't hurt.
She doesn't encourage that people have sympathy and they stop to help. Good.
Your internal report?
Oh, the ERM report, yes.
Yes, exactly. Well, in there, it was highlighted in red about the vegetation removal and that sort of thing, but you said that you haven't pulled any money from that. What exactly were they trying to warn you about in that report?
Well, that report is intended to look at all risks of the organization and the impact of those risks.
So you're admitting that tree vegetation is a risk?
Tree vegetation is a risk for all utilities that have, for all utilities that have trees on their system.
But in the report it said, unforeseen challenges prevented trimming sufficient miles in 2025.
Can you explain what those challenges are?
On our tree trimming program, I know that we are on track for this year with our tree trimming.
But you weren't in 2020. This is fiscal year last year. You weren't on track last year.
Are you talking about 2026?
I don't recall that statement, but we are on track with our tree trimming this year.
I wanted to go back to the lineman conversation. We understand you can't just take anyone off the street who says, I'm a lineman. You have to go through a vetting process. How many were rejected in that vetting process? And then also I wanted to ask about the mutual aid. I don't know if they're contracts or agreements that you have. Did you only accept help from linemen that had those mutual aid agreements with you? And is there any type of financial or contractual reason why you would take those linemen first over others who were here and ready and available? Did you push them aside to take the ones that you had agreements with?
The mutual aid process is really important because it's utilities helping other utilities, and there's already a standard contract in place for those. So we can quickly onboard those utilities, those line workers. We know that they've had all of the training and vetting that we need, so we can quickly onboard them. And so we start with them and the contractors that we already have on contract, because you can quickly deploy them.
Did you accept any from outside of those mutual aid contracts?
We did. We have accepted line workers from all over the country.
Okay, we're done here and here, and not the last two.
Thank you first off for taking our questions. You mentioned in the last press conference that you all were prepared for a snowstorm, not really an ice storm. Can you clarify that? Because NWS, I believe every meteorologist from each station that's in here has said that there's a potential of ice, dangerous ice. So is there a reason why you guys weren't truly prepared for the ice from last week?
Adequate planning for any kind of storm is really important. With regard to this one, we certainly were planning for the predicted weather. As it migrated to being predicted as an ice storm, we were arranging for crews, and we were arranging for an adequate number of crews. We just did not necessarily have them on site.
Why not? Why weren't they on site?
When you have a storm of that magnitude and the forecast is moving quickly and no one really knows where the ice is going to go. A few days prior, it was supposed to go to Memphis. So when it pivoted to
MTE
Nashville,
knew.
we called
Dixon
Memphis
knew.
and said,
Columbia
can we have
knew.
all of your contract
Cumberland
crews
knew.
if it doesn't hit you? So
Duck River
a
knew.
lot of them were sitting in Memphis.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting her. My apologies.
First question mentioned the Speaker of the House calling for the resignation of people on the NES leadership. There's also been criticism from the mayor, from the governor. Have you been surprised? How do you respond to some of the criticism you have seen? What are your thoughts about that and the calls for resignation?
As I mentioned earlier, accountability is important, and we are committed to working with all of our community and political leaders.
We were told a couple of years ago when there was ice storm in Antioch and people were without power for days that this wouldn't happen again. Why did it happen again?
I'm not aware of what you're referencing.
My last question is just how do people contact NES to just let them know if there are any more further problems? What's the best way for connecting any issues or any new issues with your company?
You see how
Are
nervous she
you
is?
referencing
Her head's
account
shaking.
issues, power outage issues?
Power outage issues, and maybe they took down a tree outside of their house to make it easier for NES to come that they were told they had to do before they were able to do more work. What's the best form of communication with NES right now?
They can call us. That's the best way. If they've had in that situation, if they've had a tree removed, it's best to call us just to make sure that whatever note we had on the account, we're returning to that property to fix it for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Generally, what's your response to the state legislature wanting to have legislative oversight?
We are committed to working with all of our political leadership.
There's concern that
Oh,
NES
she's
lobbyists
packing up her papers, everybody.
prevented more oversight from being in place. Do you guys have lobbyists that are trying to prevent oversight from being passed at the state level?
I'm not aware of that.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's going to wind that up. I don't believe that Teresa Broyles Applin should be allowed to leave the building without gathering her things. That's my takeaway from that press conference. She was not ready for the press conference. She's not ready to be CEO. She's not ready to help people. People are dead. And she does not recognize any responsibility that NES has to that. More on that in a moment. I got to go. It's 58 after the hour on Super Talk. Trying to shake the cobwebs of that press conference out of my head, folks. That was just absolutely amazing. I'll tell you what is also amazing is, in a very different way, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, so good at what they do. Dr. Mitch, could not be more of a juxtaposition based on what we just heard over the last 30 minutes and how good Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, and the rest of their team at the Wellness Institute of Nashville are at what they do. Dr. Mitchell wants you to be pain-free. And the bottom line is this: if you're in pain in 2026 and you don't know how to deal with it, friends, it's time to call the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Painisbad.com is the website, painisbad.com, or give them a call at 615-246-5009. I can tell you with personal experience that they can solve that lower back issue that you might have, or that upper back issue, or that knee issue, neck issue, hip issue, elbow issue, whatever it might be. They've got the brand new Hydro Wave, the only place in the state of Tennessee to have the Hydro Wave, plus always spinal decompression. And right now in 2026, 47% off spinal decompression. That can help alleviate your pain. Go to painisbad.com or call 615-246-5009 and tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the Wellness Institute of Nashville.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, 14,474 still without power, 10 days out from the winter storm. The death toll stands at 25 statewide. Frustration with NES leadership mounting. NES CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin just responded to the question, why didn't they have more line crews ready to respond when the forecast called for snow and ice?
Adequate planning for any kind of storm is really important. With regard to this one, we certainly were planning for the predicted weather. As it migrated to being predicted as an ice storm, we were arranging for crews. And we were arranging for an adequate number of crews. We just did not necessarily have them on site.
Why not? Why weren't they on site?
When you have a storm of that magnitude and the forecast is moving quickly and no one really knows where the ice is going to go. A few days prior, it was supposed to go to Memphis. So when it pivoted to Nashville, we called Memphis and said, can we have all of your contract crews if it doesn't hit you? So a lot of them were sitting in Memphis.
Now, questions came up about whether or not the tree trimming budget for NES had been cut by $7.5 million in 2025. And Broyles-Applin is adamant that the budget actually increased rather than was cut, but she did not offer up solid figures on that at this press conference. Meanwhile, Channel 4 says NES is the target of legislation from both Republicans and Democrats in the General Assembly. One bill by Democrat Nashville State Rep Jason Powell would require utilities like ENS to publish after-action reports that would openly show where they fail.
This has been catastrophic. It's put the people of Nashville through hell. But it's a failure on the leadership of NES. That's where the blame lies, because they should have had a plan in place. They should have had crews lined up.
Powell thinks that his bill will be assigned to committee next week, which is a sure sign that it is going to get traction. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, drivers, let's check it out. With all that rain that has fallen, it is a mess out there. I'm looking at angry red and jet black on the TDOT map. That means it is stop and go. Both directions, northbound, southbound 65 between the South Loop and 440. Eastbound 440 over to 24. East and westbound 40 between downtown and the eastern split. Pretty much everywhere around the loop, it's a parking lot. We've got crashes. Well, actually, this is a stalled vehicle blocking the way. 24 westbound there at I-440. Got a crash. Looks like injuries involved. Dickerson Pike, just south of Trinity Lane. And then a crash on the right shoulder, 65 northbound past 24 downtown. Smyrna, a crash, 24 eastbound at Sam Ridley Parkway. And in Clarksville, a crash on the right shoulder, 24 westbound at Wilma Rudolph. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're running a little bit behind. We had long-form coverage of a press conference just held by the soon-to-be former CEO of Nashville Electric Service, a woman by the name of Teresa Broyles-Applin. I cannot imagine a world where she survives another couple of weeks as CEO, considering how disastrous that press conference was. Not an apology. They did not say, hey, we recognize that there are people frustrated. We recognize that there are people upset. We understand that there are leaders that are upset about our reaction to all of this. And none of that. They defended their actions. They shielded themselves behind line workers and then got obstinate when the reporters, good on them, by the way, had the audacity to ask some hard-hitting questions about some of the information that they're giving out that was simply erroneous. So we're absorbing all of that and dissecting it as we speak. And we'll take your telephone calls on it coming up in just a moment. As I have said on social media platforms, and I think I said it a minute ago, I don't understand a world where this woman is not marched directly to her office and told to gather her personal belongings because she's no longer the CEO of Nashville Electric Service. People are dead. And much of this was entirely preventable. Ken, do you know if she was a Freddie hire? I know she came on board in 2022.
That would have been Cooper.
You think so?
If it was Cooper, but from what I understand, it is the Nashville Electric Board that hires the CEO. So that could have been Cooper's appointments to the board. I know that Mayor Freddie O'Connell yesterday said that he has only appointed 2 members to that 5-member board.
So the board gets appointed by the mayor, approved by the council, and then those board members hire the chief executive officer.
Sir.
That makes sense. All right, we're dissecting and kind of absorbing all of this. While we do, Congressman Tim Burchett is going to join us. Tim, it is like a 28 dadgummit kind of day, my friend, because these folks, these DEI hires, brother, they are out in abundance with NES, and there's a lot of people in Middle Tennessee that are extremely frustrated right now. I don't know if you have anything to say about it, but I bet you do.
I do. I think it's a manifestation of people staying at home. 40% of evangelical Christians don't go to the polls. 30% of gun owners. Doesn't have anything to do with this issue, but it's the mindset. Conservatives better get off their butts. This is a perfect example of how we're losing our country. And we're losing it on the local races, and we should never lose these local races. I mean, look what happened in Texas. This is the kind of thing that goes on and we need to be. This is a wake-up call, and it's a horrible wake-up call because I've talked to a lot of people over there, John Rich, all of them, and I know exactly what's going on. You all have allowed a bunch of liberals in there, and then what's happened is all the conservative people, we do this every time. We put liberal judges in. Oh, well, they supported this person, but they're a good person and all this other stuff, and the liberals never do it. What do they do when they get in power? They stack it full of their people, these appointments that are so staggered that you'll never get them out of there, and that's exactly what's happened to us. And we've got to clean it up. We've got to start acting. We've been given democracy is an incredible gift God has given this country, and we are throwing it away. Every time something like this happens, you all need to go to the polls. You need to demand more out of your council, your mayor, every dadgum one of them, and hold them accountable. And I don't care if you went to church with them or your wife, is their third cousin or what have you. We used to have those same arguments in the Tennessee legislature all the time. And but we finally got smart and took over. I mean, that's why we've got a very conservative state. That's why people are lining up to get in. But when they see stuff like this, it makes people wonder what the heck we're thinking.
Our guest, Congressman Tim Burchett, you're speaking the truth, brother. I mean, you're right, and I don't know what to do necessarily about the local community of Davidson County and the city of Nashville. Sadly, those folks are so woke that they're blind to what they're electing. I mean, unfortunately.
But look at the numbers. Look at the numbers of people that are there and how many don't vote. I will guarantee you probably less than 12% elected this mayor. And, if you would we do that in the city of Knoxville. We elected somebody in the city of Knoxville, my hometown, that is an open Marxist. And nobody really cares until something like this happens. And then everybody freaks out. But I will warn you this. We have very short memories. In the elections, when they roll around in 2 years or what have you, this will just be, oh, yeah, I remember that. Dadgummit, get out and do something. Start registering people to vote. Preachers start preaching the gospel. Let's take our country back, because it's got to happen at the local level, because you're seeing what's happening in Washington today. We passed a bill on the House floor that had several billion more dollars in it for our military than Trump even asked for. And you've got a bunch of congressmen, and all they are is they're portfolio warriors. They're just voting to make more money, and they don't give a rip about the country. It's just take care of themselves, and that's where we're at. And we're at that on the local level. What's it matter? What's my vote matters? Well, obviously, your vote matters a heck of a lot, and you need to start getting activated and doing something about it.
Well, and this is what they do with these bureaucracies, and you know better than most of us, Congressman. You're up there in the belly of the beast, right? So the mayor appoints a board that hires a CEO. The mayor's responsible for all that. The only avenue that we have to correct a problem is to go and vote for a new mayor. But the mayor steps up 2 days ago and says, hey, we're going to hold those responsible for all this accountable. And I'm like, dude, you're responsible right now. We're going to hold you accountable to how you react. Yep. You're the one responsible at this stage.
We had a tourism situation in Knoxville when I was the county mayor, and I used the bully pulpit. We had a person that was in there that was this board had allowed them to get paid. I think it was close to $300,000 a year. This was maybe 10 years ago or more. And we put the pressure on them, and the board they recanted. I mean, everything changed, and that's what you've got to do. Hold these people accountable. These hacks that we just put in on these boards. I mean, we've seen that in things like the Tennessee Valley Authority. All these other, they don't understand anything about business. And you've got a businessman there from Beeman, there from Nashville, and and it's like pulling teeth to get him on.
Right.
Because we don't have people in Congress that ultimately want to do the right thing, that ultimately want to fix the problem. They want to take care of their buddies, and they do not want to rock the boat. Well, that ship has sailed, as you said. People have lost their lives because power. And for them to understand, there's a large group of people that no longer, that still don't have power. That is completely unacceptable. This is not Haiti. This is not some third world dadgum country. We got to take control. The people of Nashville, that area, Davidson County, they need to be outraged, and they need to demand from their city council. And they're going to tell them, we can't do anything about it. Well, dadgummit, I understand there's still 40,000 people. I don't know if that's 40,000 households or what.
Yeah, I think we're down to like 16,000 households, so that would equate to about 40,000 people, yeah.
I don't care if it's your mama or grandmother, dadgummit, I don't care if it's two. It's inexcusable.
Well, and look, you and I are old enough to understand. I mean, I get it, right? That we're a resilient people, and if there's an unavoidable situation where the power is going to go out, we're going to help our neighbors. We're not going to wait for government or all of that. But this was an entirely avoidable situation on the part of NES, as evidenced by every other rural electric company. They had it handled. They had the linemen staged. They were ready to go. They weren't worried about DEI hiring or DEI practices or DEI meetings. They were worried about making sure their trees were cut so they didn't fall on the lines when the ice came.
Yeah, well, that canopy thing, I know a little bit about that because I was mayor of Knox County. You know, what you've got is these monocultures, and they want everything, you know, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to get an urban forester and all this stuff. Nature doesn't have a monoculture. Go out in the woods behind my house. It's going to be primary, secondary, and tertiary growth. And you've got, and God put a pretty good plan in place, and we're not following it because we want to, you know, we want one type of pine, or we want one type of some plant that's a hybrid that won't last 8 to 10 years, and that's what you're seeing. And protecting the canopy, well, guess what? Put the dadgum lines underground if you're going to do that. Spend the money and quit with all that nonsense. America, we've got great scientists, we got great ag departments, and it doesn't need to be run by some boardroom of a bunch of crazy liberals.
Well, and guess what? And by the way, guess what just got destroyed by God? The canopy. Okay, so I mean, you know, so I don't want to hear about the canopy when the canopy just got taken out by all of the ice, and oh, by the way, the power lines got taken out with it, and as a result, people have suffered and many people have died, and I believe several of those deaths are at least indirectly responsible for a lack of electricity, a lack of heating, and that lies at the foot of these executives at NES, no doubt.
Yeah, and when you have somebody getting up there, it looks like they just stepped out of a beauty salon, you know, giving a press conference and telling people that they're working on it. That doesn't cut it. That is DEI to the core. Riley Gaines, she made fun of she didn't. We were laughing about it because I said, when we had that down here, I said, ma'am, you are a DEI horror story. And they ended up she ended up quitting right after that meeting. And we've got to start calling this stuff out. Just put the best player in, coach. I don't care who it is. I don't care black,
That's
white,
right.
lesbian, gay. It doesn't matter. Just put the best dadgum player in and quit with all the nonsense. Do what you're supposed to do. Provide people this service, and that's it. Quit with all the other nonsense, because that's what TVA's gotten into, and that's why you got the head of TVA making $10 million a year, or $8 million, excuse me.
Let's one quick question about an unrelated activity, and that is in Washington, D.C. Are you a fan of this? I mean, we got I'm hearing 11 of the 12 appropriations bills have passed both houses of Congress. Am I hearing this accurately? And is Tim Burchett pleased?
No, I'm not pleased. I voted against it. We're spending more money than we got, and you see that the people up there that are signing the bill, most of them are probably 75 up. It's just, they just want to win and claim a win. America, you go down the street, Main Street, USA, forget the storm, forget all that. Ask 100 people what's most important, and I bet you not one will say, oh, we passed the 12 appropriations bills. We spent more money than we've asked. We're spending on things we don't need. We've got money in there for transgender mutilation of children, abortions, things that are abhorrent to most civilizations, and yet we've endorsed it. And we've done that because why? Oh, we've got to have the Senate's vote on this stuff. Look, forget that. Shut the thing down. Go back to the table. Tell America what you just passed and what you voted on. And America, will wake up, I think.
I got to let you go. I promised I'd get you out of here 3 minutes ago, and I got to let you go. But, Tim, I appreciate your fire, appreciate your passion, and we'll do it again very soon.
Pray for our country. Let's take it back.
We'll do it.
Brother.
Thank you, man. There's Tim Burchett. I promised to get him out at 5:20, and it is 5:24 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I counted 7. You have it at 7? 7 dadgummits? 7 dadgummit day with Tim Burchett on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, I can't help with the power, especially if you're dealing with NES, but I can help with your heating system. If you're having trouble with your heater and you don't know where to turn, how about Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling? Jeff Eddy's been there for you for a long time now. Jeff Eddy doesn't worry about being the biggest HVAC company in the state of Tennessee. He just wants to be the best with a 100% satisfaction rating, and he works hard to do that. He works hard to make sure that your unit works for as long as it should. What does that mean? Well, sadly, a lot of HVAC people, if you bring them out to the heater, they're going to try to just replace it, right? That's the easiest thing for them to do. Oh, you need a new unit. Well, unfortunately, you lose thousands of dollars and you lose years off the life of your heater when you do it that way. And Jeff Eddy doesn't believe in it, so he's going to fix it if he can fix it. He's going to be straight with you about what he's doing and how he's doing it. And if the time comes, he'll tell you that too, so you can trust when he tells you you need a new one that you know you need a new one. Ask about maintenance when you call Jeff Eddy at Efficient Heating and Cooling. They're an Elite Pro partner with Ream. Give them a call at 615-478-784. I reversed that. 784-4424. That's 784-4424 or efficienthvac.net.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, nearly 15,000 still without power 10 days since the winter storm. The death toll, 25 statewide. NES increasingly under scrutiny, not only by customers, but also elected leaders on both sides of the aisle. So it's bipartisan. CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin taking questions from the media last hour. She denied the budget for tree trimming to decrease the risk of power outages was cut.
Tree trimming has always been an integral part of our power maintenance program. So we've had a pretty aggressive tree trimming program for years. We actually have not cut the budget. The budget has increased every year over the last 4 years. We're spending, I think, $21.6 million this year on tree trimming.
It was $13 million. You're saying you did not cut the budget?
We did not cut the budget for tree trimming. It has increased every year for the last 4 years.
And you think you did enough?
I know we have an active tree trimming program, and I personally have not evaluated the miles we've trimmed, but we have certainly been aggressively trimming trees.
Well, reports say NES slashed its contracted tree trimming budget by roughly $7.4 million in 2024, a move now linked to widespread storm outages. Records show the utility dropped from more than $21 million in trimming work to under $14 million. And the search continues for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie. Arizona officials say she was kidnapped over the weekend.
Nancy Guthrie has been missing since early Sunday morning. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nano says leads are pouring in, but right now
we got to find her, and we got to work hard to do that.
He says there is no DNA to indicate suspects who may have been in the house. No information on cars seen in the area. No tire tracks or footprints. The FBI is analyzing cell phone and cell tower data. When pressed by ABC if there is a ransom demand that has come in, the sheriff would only say, "We're looking at all leads." Alex Stone, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Driving in and driving out of downtown is like a parking lot right now, and crashes and stalled vehicles aren't helping. We've got a crash 40 eastbound at Broadway, stalled vehicle 24 westbound at I-440, a crash in Smyrna 24 eastbound at Sam Ridley, and then Talbot's Corner, we got a crash right shoulder block 65 northbound past 24. And in Franklin, we've got a crash 840 westbound at Lewisburg Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Cover Nash and Shane Ring understand health insurance in a way that I never will, but I don't have to worry about understanding it at that level because I got Shane on speed dial, right? And you need Shane on speed dial too. Cover Nash can assist. Do not fall for this trick, and it is a trick. Promoted, by the health insurance industry that, open enrollment and only time you can make any changes, open enrollment. Shane's like, that's not true. While there are obviously limitations involved in everything, he can find you better coverage. He can find you less expensive coverage right now, today, on this February 3rd, and you don't have to worry about it. Friends, Obamacare's added again, and the premiums have gone up. The deductibles have gone up along with them. You do not have to play by Washington's rules. You can get better coverage. Shane Ring can help. He's in Brentwood. He's local. He'll sit down with you in person, or he'll do it over the phone. He can cut your cost by up to 60%. You keep the doctor in the hospital that you enjoy, and you eliminate the government red tape. So if you're self-employed, unemployed, or just tired of paying too much, it's time to get with Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Real health coverage on your terms, not on the terms of the government. Here's the number, 615-465-0023. 465-0023 or online at covernash.com. Man, I came into this studio at 3 o'clock today. Jackson, how would you describe my humor?
What?
So my humor, my general disposition at 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Angry, grumpy, curt. You were Curt Murphy.
I was. And if I upset your delicate sensibility, Jackson, I want to apologize to you. J. Willie, Y2J. Action Jackson, Reaction Jackson, Truffle Butter. I apologize.
Had to throw the truffle butter in there, didn't you?
That's part of your nickname list. That's the last one on your nickname list. I apologize. But I have this theory that you can give someone you're grumpy. Have I ever told you this theory that I have?
Yes, you told me. And it's not you. It's that press conference made me grumpy.
I don't know. Well, one way or the other, you're grumpy and I'm not anymore.
That press conference made me very grumpy.
Good.
And not just because of the dumb things
Well,
the nice
that's
lady
right.
was saying.
Because it got you off schedule.
It threw us so behind. I'm just now caught up. I'm fine now, but I have been grumpy for about the last hour.
So for those that don't know, I mean, Jackson's in charge of all of that, right? So I'm in charge of the yapping. Jackson has a hard enough time getting me to go on break on time, but when we do something like that, he knows. I mean, we gotta cover it.
We skipped like 3 breaks.
We gotta cover it, and we gotta get the information to the folks, and so we had to skip a couple of commercial advertisements, and Jackson has to make those up. He's responsible for making those up, and I'm not, and so I'm no longer grumpy, and he is.
Yes, that became my problem very fast, and that press conference being just utterly.
It was garbage.
Useless garbage.
It was trash.
Made it worse. I was like, oh, so this is useless.
Well, I imagine maybe one could make the case that it was useful in as much as for those still holding on to this delicate tentacle of a belief that maybe it wasn't the CEO's fault. If you watched that or listened to that,
you know.
I mean, come on. Good gracious. Now, all of that said, I had an nincompoop in the news. My nincompoop in the news was given to me by my wife, and I was geared up and ready to go. You want to go ahead and play the thing so I could tell you why I don't have a nincompoop in the news? I mean, you won yesterday, right?
I did.
Does that mean you're going first?
No, that means I get to pick the batting order.
Oh, that's true. Well, hold on a second.
Ken, you know what I'm going to do.
Don't make me go first. If you make me go first, I'm going to steal yours.
Brother Weavers, you don't know where mine's from. I looked hard for this one.
I just need a ruling. All I'm asking for is a ruling from Ken Weaver, from Jackson Williams, and from the listening audience. I feel like 2012 is too far to go back. Erica gave me a nincompoop in the news, and it's a great nincompoop in the news, but it's from 2012, and I don't feel like that's in the news.
If your story's old enough to have an iPhone, it's not in the news.
I feel like the segment would have to be called Nincompoops in History.
Yes.
Yeah, I have been contemplating this because as it gets harder and harder to mine for
naked people,
nincompoop stories that involve naked people, I can go back decades and find funny stories, but I don't know. We need to figure this out, boys, because we really haven't set the ground rules on that. So what's stopping us?
That's a good question, Ken. I think our own sensibility about all of this. I feel like we know what's in the news and what's not in the news. And 2012 is just not in the news. This woman could very well be dead now, for all I know.
It's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. So
that's 14 years ago.
I'm calling an audible, and I'm trying to find another nincompoop as we speak. Jackson won yesterday, and Jackson, you get to decide the batting order. Jackson, go right ahead.
The order is Murphy, Weaver, Williams.
Oh, yes, sir. I get to go second.
All right, so I get to go first.
Yes.
All right, Florida man allegedly tossed $4,000 worth of stolen meat when he found his girlfriend cooking with another man.
Oh.
A Cuban national is I don't know why that's pertinent to the story, but it's right there in the story. That's what it says. It says a Cuban national. So he's in Florida.
That the kind of sandwich he was making?
Maybe. Oh, man, don't you love a good Cuban?
Cigars.
Have you ever had a Cuban sandwich, Ken? Oh, with the pork and the ham and so good.
I've had pork and ham sandwiches.
Well, if you've never had I'll bring you a delicious Cuban.
I'll take it.
Oh, it's so good. And then I'll bring you a cigar later.
I'll take that, too.
A Cuban national is accused of stealing nearly $4,000 worth of meat from a Florida grocery store and throwing nearly all of it away after catching his girlfriend cooking with another man. Genez Alvarez Reyna of Jacksonville, originally from Cuba, was caught on surveillance video January 5th, stealing an assortment of meats from 2 Publix stores. Well, that's good stuff. I love Publix. Shopping is a pleasure. Reyna made off with $1,574.86 worth of beef and lamb from a Belterra Crossings Publix around 7:43 in the evening And less than 20 minutes later, he decided to go back and steal $2,084 worth of pork, top sirloin, brisket, tenderloin, and personal care products. I just found this story, so I haven't pre-read it. What kind of personal care products do you think he's taking?
Toothbrush?
Lube?
Ooh.
I mean, I was thinking lube.
Deodorant?
Would that be considered personal care?
No.
Probably depends on what you do with it.
Personal care in that sense would be... Never mind. We're not getting into this.
I've got a picture of him, so it's not hair care products because he's bald as Dan Mandis.
Also, is Dan Mandis going to coach the Titans?
I don't know. Well, he might. Maybe.
He fits the prerequisites.
Weaver could get in on it, too.
Yep, Weaver.
I mean, although Weaver, I don't know if there's a prerequisite as to the shaving aspect of how you carry yourself.
Well, I told him that I would as long as I get a hat and a whistle and some two-tone blue socks pulled up to my knees.
I like that.
So you don't get the hat because the thing is bald.
Oh, well, then I'm out.
The theme.
Yeah, the whole
coaching staff is
concept
bald.
is bald. Yeah. Anyway, back to Mr. Reyna, who stole some $3,600, almost $4,000 worth of meat. I don't know how you do that, but we're going to find out together. Detectives identified Reyna as a suspect in both thefts. He told authorities that after he stole all of the meat, he drove to his girlfriend's house, where he found her cooking with another man.
Can't do that.
Cooking what?
They were cooking.
Well, they're cooking. I feel like she accused him of not being a provider. She called a dude that had some meat of some sort. He goes out to get meat.
Some extra summer sausage, you might say.
Maybe so. And then he brings the meat back home, and there's another fellow there that already has the meat.
Cooking sausage with his woman.
So upon the upset at the discovery, Reyna tossed most of the stolen meat. According to authorities, this wasn't a case of someone trying to meet their budget. It was a calculated high-stakes operation.
No pun intended.
See what he did there? That left two stores with significant loss. While the suspect's selection was choice, his method wasn't kosher. According to authorities, he really tried to milk the system, but by now he's found out that Green Roof Inn does not serve premium meat. The Green Roof Inn would be a reference to the local sheriff's lockup. He was transported to Sheriff Perry Hall Inmate Detention Facility, and he's being held on a $5,000 bond. Jackson, who's next?
Weaver.
All right, boys. I got this idea from Brother Chris this morning.
Uh-oh.
But I think I'm going to hold on to it.
Uh-oh.
Because I just feel like I need to do this one instead.
Okay.
Native American tribe that owns land under Billie Eilish's L.A. mansion has message for the virtue signaling singer. The tribe says, okay, get off our land. If you want to say things like this.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Yeah, the American tribe that owns the land under Billie Eilish's multi-million-dollar Los Angeles mansion said celebrities should, quote, explicitly reference the tribes if they want to use them to virtue signal. The Tongva tribe confirmed that the Bad Guy Singer's $3 million home does sit on its ancestral land after the 24-year-old used her Grammys acceptance speech to rail against ICE and insist that no one is illegal on stolen land.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
The indigenous inhabitants of the Los Angeles basin, known as the First Angelinos, said they appreciate Eilish's sentiment. However, they noted that the performer hasn't contacted them directly and insisted that next time she explicitly reference them.
Can I get that clip one more time?
No one is illegal on stolen land.
What does that even mean?
Who knows?
That doesn't make a lot of sense. Jackson!
Ready?
Yeah.
Broad daylight exhibitionism at Applebee's. 2 adults arrested for alleged indecent exposure and disorderly conduct at family restaurants.
Son of a biscuit eater.
A report of adults allegedly having sex in the parking lot of an Applebee's in California, Maryland, prompted arrest after multiple witnesses came forward to make reports.
There's a California, Maryland?
Yes.
Okay.
On January 12, 2026, around 4 p.m., the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office responded to the Applebee's parking lot following reports of alleged sexual activity occurring in a parked vehicle.
In the light of day, too.
Alleged.
According to police reports, police spoke with witnesses who alleged seeing a man and a woman naked in the back seat of a vehicle. One witness reportedly described the woman's legs being raised.
Oh, dear. Good. Just easy. Easy.
A total of 2 witnesses provided statements corroborating the reported public sexual conduct.
He had a bumper sticker that said, "If the RAV4's a rockin', don't come a knockin'."
Court documents show officers located the individuals identified as Kenesha Latasha Gross, 35 of Lexington Park.
No pun intended.
And James Matthew Washington, 58 of Capitol Heights.
Ma'am, let me see your feet. Yep, that's her.
Both face charges of indecent exposure and disorderly conduct.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
What is it? What are we even doing? I'll have some of those baby back ribs, and I'll take them to go, please.
Do you guys do carside service?
I mean, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're at Applebee's.
Applebee's has rats!
What is it about people in their 50s and 40s? Something about getting into your 40s and 50s makes you lose your ever-loving mind.
Dollaritas. They get you.
I'll tell you what, I'll do the horizontal mambo wherever I please. Thank you very much.
Ain't nobody gonna see us.
That's how we play Nincompoops in the News. You can vote for me, you can vote for Ken Weaver, or you can vote for Jackson.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Vote early, vote often. No one's illegal on stolen land except for the people that stole it, right? I don't understand that. We'll be back. What's up, friends? It's Matt Murphy sitting in studio, and looky who is on my line. That is Mark from the one and only Safe House. What is going on, brother?
Hello, Brother Matt. How you doing tonight?
I am fabulous. I hope y'all are doing okay. You're over the ice storm, I hope.
Yeah, we're recovering. Just trying to get safes out to our customers. We got folks out with out power, and we're trying to get them safe so they can keep their stuff protected.
Well, amen. I mean, that's a big deal. And you know what I like about that? I like the fact that your crews are your crews, and you trust that your crews can go into people's houses without, being all weird or janky on them. You know what I mean?
Well, we're definitely not janky, that's for sure. But, yeah, unmarked trucks, very discreet, professional delivery. That's what we're known for.
I love it. I love it. What is going on? I heard you got Barganos happening at the Safe House.
Well, we have some big savings on safes that some special stuff that we have that no other dealer has actually in the whole area. And being the largest Browning dealer and Fort Knox dealer, we've got safes that no one else has. So we've had a huge influx of folks coming in and buying safes and saving a lot of money.
Well, it's a natural consequence of, nobody wishes for these negative situations, but people realize when they are without power, when they are without, the normal stuff in their life, they're like, man, I need some protection. I need the ultimate protection, which is a safe from Nashville Safe House. And here's a great thing. Y'all have so many in stock. Y'all've got one for somebody. Right? You've got the right safe for every person that walks through your door, I would say.
We do, and we even have the Matt Murphy safe special.
Y'all need to get in there and see this thing.
Well, yeah, it's a special safe we had made up just for you, and people are loving it. They're, buying a lot of them.
Let's get on it, y'all. Can go see Donald Trump. He's right there in the library. You can see the straw that stirs the drink. Jill's right there in the lobby area, and then Mark's lounging in the back somewhere because he doesn't really do all
with my feet up.
That's right.
Selling safes.
That's
selling safes.
And just look, brother. I need to get people down there to see you at Nashville Safe House. How do they get there?
We're down on 4th Avenue, right across from the old city cemetery, 1004 4th Avenue South. Been there 20-something years, been in business 34. This is our 34th year, Matt.
Wow, 34 years. And Mark, I don't feel like you're a day over 80.
Well, I started this business, let's see, what was I, like 8 years old?
I'm just kidding. I like messing with you.
Take the zero off of it. I was 8. So, yeah.
Right. Y'all go see him down on 4th Avenue South across from City Cemetery, or go online at NashvilleSafeHouse.com. I promise you, they've got a safe that's for you, and they got rebates galore, Browning, and all of the other name brands that you know and love. Mark, we love hearing from you, and we'll come see you soon, brother.
Take care, brother.
All right, see you.
Goodbye.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, nearly 15,000 still without power, 10 days out from the winter storm. The death tolls at 25 statewide. Frustration with NES leadership mounting, and NES CEO Teresa Broyles Applin was pressed today on NES tree trimming policies, which may or may not have made a difference in the severity of the outages.
Well, that report is intended to look at all risks of the organization and the impact of those risks.
So you're admitting that tree vegetation is a risk?
Tree vegetation is a risk for all utilities that have, for all utilities that have trees on their system.
But in the report it said unforeseen challenges prevented trimming sufficient miles in 2025.
Can you explain what those challenges are?
On our tree trimming program, I know that we are on track for this year with our tree trimming.
But you weren't in 2020. This is fiscal year last year. You weren't on track last year. Do you know why you were not on track?
I don't recall that statement, but we are on track with our tree trimming this year.
Channel 4 says NES is the target of legislation from both Republicans and Democrats in the General Assembly. One bill by Democrat Nashville State Rep Jason Powell would require utilities to publish after-action reports that would openly show where they failed.
This has been catastrophic. It's put the people of Nashville through hell. But it's a failure on the leadership of NES. That's where the blame lies, because they should have had a plan in place. They should have had crews lined up.
Powell says he thinks his bill will be assigned to committee next week, which means it's going to get traction. House Speaker Mike Johnson celebrated the passage of the government spending package and appeared optimistic about the negotiations on the Department of Homeland Security funding in our nation's capital.
This is no time to play games with that funding. We hope that they will operate in good faith over the next 10 days as we negotiate this.
Now, lawmakers now have until Friday, February 13th, to reach a broader agreement on Homeland Security funding. The urgent investigation's ongoing to find Nancy Guthrie, the mother of NBC Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, who the sheriff in Pima County, Arizona, says was kidnapped over the weekend.
Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos telling reporters his investigators don't know where Nancy Guthrie is. In a new briefing, he said there is no DNA that has come back indicating people other than Guthrie were in the home. There are no tire tracks or footprints and no information on cars seen in the area. When pressed by ABC News whether a ransom demand has come in, Nanos would only say,
"We're following all leads we have. That's all I can tell you."
The sheriff says lots of leads are coming in, and the FBI is analyzing cell phones, cell tower information, and conducting interviews. Alex Stone, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. We are still very slow going in and out of the downtown area, particularly westbound East Loop and then eastbound South Loop over to 65. Eastbound 440 is like a parking lot at times over to 65, and that'll continue over to 24. We've got a crash in the way, 40 eastbound at Broadway, exit 209B. Goodlettsville, a wreck. Actually, these are disabled vehicles. 4 or 5 vehicles damaged from hitting large potholes in the roadway. This is going to be 65 southbound at Long Hollow Pike. Whites Creek, we got a crash. Briley Parkway westbound at Brick Church Pike. In Smyrna, a crash partially blocking the off-ramp 24 eastbound to Sam Ridley Parkway. In Bellevue, a crash, Highway 100 at Chafin Drive. Mount Juliet, right shoulder blocked by a crash, 40 westbound at Golden Bear Gateway, Beckwith Road. And in Franklin, a wreck, 840 westbound at Lewisburg Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back to your phone calls momentarily. We have not been able to get your reaction to a press conference you heard live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, where Teresa Broyles-Applin explained to you in clear detail that they did not, in fact, cut tree trimming or their budget from 2023 to 2025. She said that. This is despite the fact that she signed off on the annual budget report that indicates. So is she really? I'm trying to figure out what she's trying to pull, what she's trying to do. She's trying to lie to the people. She's gaslighting you, right? They obviously spent less money on tree trimming between 2023 and 2025. She lied about it last night and said that, no, that's not true. We didn't. But now they're trying to hide behind it. It's interesting. Not interesting. It's completely and wholly dishonest what they're trying to do. They're suggesting that you just don't understand how to read this report. So Nashville Electric Service CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin today said that they had never cut their budget for tree trimming, despite the fact that between 2023 and 2025, that budget went down from $21-ish million to almost $14 million. Now, it went down to 13.8 between 23 and 24. It went back up just a little bit in 2025 to $14 million. But clearly, they spent $21 million in 2023, and they spent $14 million. How much money are you spending on tree trimming? My God. I mean, does it really cost that much? There's only 300. Hey, Jackson, you got a calculator over there? Can you divide 21 million by 365 and tell me how much money they're spending every day of the year on tree trimming? That seems like a lot. But she was asked repeatedly about the cut that was reflected in the 2024 report by reporters at a press conference. Now, the Tennessee Star was first on this, and kudos to Michael Patrick Leahy for discovering that between 2023 and 2025, the budget was cut by roughly $7 million, or the spending was cut. And I'm guessing what she's trying to do, how much is that a day?
$57,534.24.6. So 25 cents. A quarter, if you would.
They're spending $57,000 every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What? That seems like a lot of money. Is it just me? I mean, I understand Nashville's a big place. Davis County's a big place. Anyway. So they spent $21 million in 23. They spent $13.8 in 24. They spent roughly $14 million in 25. And they're like, well, you spent all this less money, or you spent less money. Well, no, our budgets didn't change. So what? It appears that Teresa Broyles-Applin is trying to gaslight you and me and everyone else by saying, we didn't cut our budgets, our costs went down. Yeah, but what did you do with that extra money? If you budgeted $21 million and you only spent $14 million, that's $7 million that you didn't spend on what you had budgeted it on. If that's the game that you want to play, lady, we'll play it. So you're saying your budget didn't go down, your costs went down. I guess that's what they're saying. All right. Well, then where'd the money go? Where'd the money go? Did it go to you? Did it go to someone else? Did it go to nothing? Did it go back to the ratepayers? Where did the money go? If you missed this disastrous press conference that we held live for you on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, or aired live for you, you probably did yourself a favor. It was just insulting, is what it was. And Mayor Freddie O'Connell, we're looking at you. Mayor Freddie O'Connell did not appoint the majority of the board, and the board apparently is responsible for the hiring and firing of the CEO. No one, has anybody heard from any of these board members? Has anyone heard from Ann Davis? Has anyone heard from Casey Santos, Clifton Harris, Robert McCabe, Ian Prunty? Now, of the 5 of those individuals, John Cooper originally appointed 4 of them. Freddie O'Connell appointed Ian Prunty. Freddie O'Connell reappointed Clifton Harris and promoted Ann Davis to chair and Casey Santos to vice chair. So while he did not appoint the majority of the 5-person board, the majority was initially appointed by Cooper. He did reappoint at least one of them and promote 2 others. Here's the question. Has Mayor Freddie O'Connell been in contact with the board? Has he recommended to the board that they look into firing their CEO, Teresa Broyles-Applin? Y'all listened to this lady or watched her if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or Rumble on Talk TV. She is not ready for prime time. She was very nervous. You could tell she was very nervous. She was tense. Her head was shaking in a way that comes from a great when you're in a tension-filled environment and you feel pressed upon, you feel, your room is shrinking in. You get that tension, and that creates a nervous tick in a lot of people where your head shakes, and her head was shaking. You could tell that she was nervous. She was not prepared for some of the questions asked about her budgets. She still has not explained to us where the $7 million went that was supposed to go to vegetation trimming. There was a report out last November that the vegetation trimming was inadequate and it was going to cause a disaster if it was not solved. She kept saying that we're on track for this year. Are you talking about this year, like 2026? We're a month into this year, lady. Are you talking about the fiscal year? What are you talking about? Are you talking about last year, 2025? What are you talking about? Mark is going to be right after Todd, who is next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, Todd.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing great, Todd. What's on your mind?
Good. Seriously, I have 40 years of disaster planning in healthcare, and thank you for doing income poops first, because otherwise my head would explode over this NES conference. The bottom line is a lot of this goes back down to the disaster planning. I think a lot of it comes into where the bottom line is when you have a committee, so to speak, or a chair, however you want to look at it, that they have adequately done disaster planning. And what I mean by that is that Tennessee State does a wonderful job of disaster planning and everything from a fire to a flood to everything else. But I think it's time that NES wakes up and says, you know what, electricity is a life safety device. We've killed 25 people here. We've got to look at it differently. Without electricity, people die. So what do? Well, you have your disaster plans, not in a book, not where you dust them off or where you do anything else, but you consistently have a meeting every single month. You go through it, you plan, you do drills, active drills, not fake drills on a tabletop, not a book you dust off. I wonder if any of the board members have ever even looked at their plans and what to do in an event like this. So I may sound a little passionate on this thing. It's just ridiculous to where it's at now. But they've really got to look at it as a life safety device. It is, people die. That's the bottom line.
Well, I mean, we're obviously dependent on it. You know, I've long said, and Todd, it's a great point. It's a great call. I've long said that if you think that we like to pretend that we have a bedrock of society and that our civilization, our civilized society is founded on solid rock. If you believe that, turn the lights off for 2 weeks and see what happens. Well, we're experiencing some of that, and it's a very limited amount. Turn the light. Can you imagine, and I don't want to be dystopian here, but can you imagine what would happen if the lights went out and somebody came on the radio or someone made the announcement where a lot of people could hear it, hey, the lights are out, and we really don't know when they're coming back on? Like, I mean, not serious question. Can you imagine in Nashville, Tennessee, if the lights go out for all of the metro area and then somehow officials get to this radio station and they say, we have to make an announcement over your 100,000 watt radio station because people can pick that up wirelessly. And we say, okay. And they say, the lights are out and we do not see the electricity coming back on for the foreseeable future. How long before the entire society would descend into madness? 2 days?
I'd give us a week.
You would have people. I mean, I don't even want to describe what I think would happen within 48 hours. I would be embarrassed to tell you what I think would happen.
I don't think they'd say that.
I don't think they would either. They would lie. They would lie.
Yeah. They would never tell you that they don't know.
You know, it's like the old theory. If they knew that if they knew a huge asteroid was coming, I mean, eventually they would have to tell us because there would be enough people with, you know, their own telescopes that they would find out. But if they knew a huge asteroid was coming and it was going to destroy civilization, do you think they would tell us? I don't think they would tell us. I think that's...
Eventually you have to tell.
They would have to tell when we started figuring it out. But if they knew that there was one coming 10 years from now, and there was a 95% certainty that it was going to hit Earth, and if it hits Earth, it's destroying all humanity as we know it. They're not telling us. They're not telling us any of that. Well, the point is, we depend on electricity. Now, we're a resilient people. And I said at the beginning of this ice disaster, listen, we've got to give a little bit of grace because obviously when the electricity goes down, it takes them a little bit of time. Now, what I said earlier today has been questioned by some of you. I'll give you an example. 9981, who's a loyal listener to the show, says, I understand you're making the statement this could have been avoided. Would you please expand on how this could have been avoided? What I mean when I say this, obviously not the ice storm, not the immediate effects of the ice storm. Clearly, there are going to be power lines going down. There are going to be people without power. But what we are dealing with now, with the lack of tree mitigation, with the lack of tree cutting, with the lack of pre-planning, that's what we're talking about when I'm saying this could be avoided. No one is suggesting that you can avoid the natural disaster that was the ice storm. But if you pre-stage, if you cut trees in advance, and I'm talking months and months in advance, if you stage more than 200 linemen, I mean, other electric companies did it. And then 9981 follows up and says, love you, but how do you battle ice that has to melt before you can get to the lines? I agree with you in most points, but until your new home gets shut off from services because of ice, you will never get it. You know, sir, you don't tick me off. I was without power for 10 days in Birmingham, Alabama in an ice storm in 2014. I don't need to be I will not be lectured about what to do in an ice storm when you don't have power. I will not be lectured. I was without power for 10 days. So please save it. I understand what individuals have to do if they are shut off from the greater society, and I think I have a grasp on what government officials need to do to try to prevent the true disaster that we've seen happen in the last 6 or 8 days. So thank you. I appreciate you, but you don't know what you're talking about. I've been through that. Jeff is next. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Oh, Mark, I missed you. I'm sorry. I'll get back to you in a second. Hey, Jeff.
Doing real good. But, you know, Matt, what I'm going to say here is going to make a lot of people in Nashville really mad. But,
all right, Jeff, I need to ask you a favor, though.
Go ahead.
Can you give me like 2 minutes before you say it? Because I gotta. Well, I mean, I gotta go to break, and I've got to do this. And I just looked at the clock, and I want to get to your call so much, and I want to get to Mark's call so much. But these are things that I have to do on the radio. That is, there's a reason that radio is free to you, and that is because of our fine advertisers like this one on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, big potholes, a big problem there in Goodlettsville, where Jay just mentioned 65 southbound there at Long Hollow Pike. You got 4 to 5 vehicles damaged from hitting big potholes there in the roadway. Full forecast of the traffic update here in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, nearly 14,000 still without power, 10 days out from the winter storm. The death tolls at 25 statewide. Frustration with NES leadership is not letting up. NES CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin defending the number of line crews they had ready to respond to the winter storm warning, which called for snow and ice.
Adequate planning for any kind of storm is really important. With regard to this one, we certainly were planning for the predicted weather. As it migrated to being predicted as an ice storm, we were arranging for crews. And we were arranging for an adequate number of crews. We just did not necessarily have them on site.
Why not? Why weren't they on site?
When you have a storm of that magnitude and the forecast is moving quickly and no one really knows where the ice is going to go. A few days prior, it was supposed to go to Memphis. So when it pivoted to Nashville, we called Memphis and said, can we have all of your contract crews if it doesn't hit you? So a lot of them were sitting in Memphis.
Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Markets ended lower on the latest earnings from tech companies, while gold and silver bounced back from recent losses. The Dow gave up 166 points. The S&P dipped 58. The Nasdaq dropped 336. NVIDIA, which has an outsized weight on the market, fell nearly 3% on reports that its open AI investment has stalled. Both Microsoft and Amazon dropped as a tech stock sell-off continues. Palantir Technologies helped offset some losses with a 6% gain after reporting bigger profit for the latest quarter than expected. The Walt Disney Company slipped a little after it said Josh D'Amaro, head of the company's parks business, will become its next CEO in March. Disney is the parent company of ABC News. French prosecutors have raided the offices of social media platform X as part of an investigation into allegations of spreading child sexual abuse images and deep fakes.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Be careful of the potholes. Right now in Goodlettsville, we've got up to 5 vehicles disabled from hitting large potholes, 65 southbound, right there at Long Hollow Pike. In Mount Juliet, we've got a crash on the right shoulder. That's going to be 40 westbound at Golden Bear Gateway, Beckwith Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back to your phone calls as promised. I apologize for the delay. It's been a busy day. A lot of things going on out there. We enjoyed a conversation with Laverne Mayor Jason Cole early on in the show. We had Joni Bryan and Brenda Willis with us to talk about the 917 Society, great organization. Of course, we had this NES press conference, and then afterwards, Congressman Tim Burchett. Now, you, Jeff, I apologize for putting you on hold and delaying you, but Jeff was saying that he's about to say something that's going to tick a bunch of people off. And, Jeff, I know a little thing or two about that, so the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Matt. Like I say, what I'm going to say is going to make a lot of people in Nashville mad, but it's an irrefutable truth.
Let's go.
It's not the CEO's fault. It's not the board's fault. It's not the mayor's fault. It's not the councilman's fault. It's the overwhelming majority of voters in Nashville. Look themselves in the mirror. You are the ones that are at fault. You're the ones who voted for these people to be put in power, just like the people of Los Angeles. Their city burnt down basically to the ground because they had incompetent leaders. If you keep voting for incompetent leaders, you're going to get incompetence throughout the system. So you can change your ways and put some different people in there if you've got enough brains to do that. If not, then just keep expecting what you get.
Ultimately, I've said as much, Jeff, about our responsibility when it comes to our federal government, our responsibility when it comes to our state government, and it's true. You get what you vote for, and you should have known better. Question is, what do we do next time around? What do the citizens of I said this to Freddie O'Connell the other day. It was via social media where he's like, we're going to hold those responsible accountable. Buddy, you're responsible. You're responsible because you appoint the board that elects the CEO, and you're the line of communication that we have. You're the direct line that we have to make our voices heard because you're the only one that we can elect.
Exactly. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. So that's why I say Democrats are pretty much insane, but that's just my thinking.
Well, what we have to do is protect ourselves. If Nashville, Tennessee, if Davidson County will not protect themselves, Jeff, and great call, great point, and I don't think it takes anybody off. I think people are singing your praises. They know you're telling the truth. Point is, if they won't protect the grid, we have to protect ourselves. And for those that live in Rutherford County or those that live in Sumner County or those that live in other areas that are impacted by NES, Williamson County, you need to have a say. There are 6 metro counties that have portions of their county where NSA has a monopoly. And those people deserve a say too. Mark's been holding for far too long. Mark, thank you for your patience. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great there, Matt. Love your show and everything. And this is a weird kind of call because I sat for hours on Chad Benson's show, the show before you, and I don't understand why he wouldn't take my call. They just had it like the phone off the hook and beep, 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 beep. But what I want to say is that, Ken Weaver, you remember how that Bill Kay said something about 70-year-old drivers and all that kind of stuff? I'm 63 like you, Ken, and here's the other thing. I just I challenged Bell Kay to give me some information. I'll come. I've done a lot of things with electrical power and built a lot of different things. I'm an engineer in that area, and if he'll just tell me where he's at, I'll come with my bare hands, pull the electrical wires off his car so he can drive it to work so that he can get, he can quit this belly aching about NES and not getting the wires off his car and all that kind of stuff. It's easy enough for people that know what they're doing. And guess what? I'm as old as Ken Weaver, and I just came out I-40 heading towards Monterey, and we were all driving, right at 90 miles an hour. So I don't think that the 70-year-old thing is a big deal for Bell Kay if you think about it, because I'm a pilot. That means that I have to pass the pilot physical and all that kind of stuff, and I drive every day all over the place. And I'm just sad that I had to bring this up on Matt's show because Chad Benson just put the phone off the hook and let it, be a busy signal.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, I rarely get a chance to hear much of Chad's show because I'm preparing mine. But I do know this, Mark. Chad does not take telephone calls. So you'll never get through on Chad's show.
What's up with that? Yeah.
I mean, to each their own. I mean, I'm not making a judgment call on it. I mean, that's his business. I'm just telling you that from noon to 3, they're not taking your calls. They will take your super text, I suppose. I do believe that I heard this right as I was walking in, that they had their, what do they call it, Jackson, their Hot Take Tuesday. Yeah, Hot Take Tuesday. And I think that was Bell's hot take, that 70-year-old drivers ought to have to retake a driver's examination every year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, bad driving does not know an age. I can promise you that. I've known some pretty darn I've known some pretty darn bad drivers at 40. I've known some pretty darn good drivers at 80. I would say that, there comes a point where I kind of understand the point, but my main question for you, Mark, is what would you do if it's a live electrical line, you said you could do it with your bare hands?
Well, when I say bare hands, I know how to handle it because I'm skilled at that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he just doesn't have anybody that can come in skilled because the utility's going to put that on the back burner. But when you've dealt with high and medium voltage and different things like that through your life and the things that you've done, like I said, I'm tired of. I want Bell K to be able to get to work and not have to have a car that's down. And it's an easy thing for me to do. I have the equipment and everything to make it happen for him, and I just want to help him out with that.
Can I tell you a phrase that my grandpa taught me? And if y'all have little pictures in the car, I'm warning you. This uses a word. I don't want to upset anybody. You know what my grandpa taught me, and this applies to Bell's car thing. Sometimes bitching's more fun than fixing.
That's exactly right, and I totally agree with you. But
you know what I mean.
Yeah, what's really funny is that I have to come on your show in a whole segment later to tell Bell K that if you'll just give me a ring, I'll come and take care of it for him. He'll be happy. I'll make it as if he did it, so his wife and family thinks that he's a hero. It's okay. It's not about me. It's just about, do we have to hear about that one more day on Chad Benson Show?
Well, I don't know. Until it gets solved, I fear you're going to be hearing about it. Mark, thank you for the telephone call. My Dad, I got a dad gumming in me. I meant to ask Mark something. If he knows about electricity, my grandpa also had another saying. Someone on the super text line tell me that Pa always said, brown, orange, and yellow will kill a fella. That's what he always would say. And I think that has something to do with the fact that that's 220, not 110. You ever been shocked, Jackson? Not shocked as in, oh my goodness, Matt Murphy is so handsome. Oh Lord, he's so good at his job. Not that kind of shocked. Shocked like physically electrocuted.
One time.
Was it 110?
I have no idea what it was.
So I got popped by 110 once, and it can take you out too, sure. But 220, you're toast, from what I've always been told. But my grandpa always said, brown, orange, and yellow will kill a fella. And what I mean, so the lines are done in different colors, and green and white and red, that would be your standard 110. If I'm not mistaken, black maybe. Green's a ground. But brown, orange, and yellow, that's your 220. I could be saying something that just isn't true right now, but that's what I remember my grandpa telling me. Y'all let me know on the super text line. Jackson, what are you emoting so much for? Is there basketball on right now?
There is basketball on, and Ole Miss is playing dirty.
Brown,
who'd they go?
Oh, brown, orange, and yellow wires are for 480 pounds.
Oh, that'll get you.
Well, that'll get you then. I just remember him saying, brown, orange, and yellow will kill a fella. If it's brown, lay it down. But that was about something different. It's 47 after the hour. We'll come back. We'll wrap up. We'll let Jackson let us know what's going on with the basketball game at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, believe it or not, as much of a know-it-all as some people think I am, I try not to talk about that which I do not know a lot about. And so you don't hear me talking a lot about the Grammys because I don't watch the Grammys. You know, the best way to avoid getting pissed off about the Grammys is not to watch the. And I get it. I understand that a lot of people had a lot of things to say about immigration and customs enforcement. And I heard the Billie, what's her name? Billie Eilish.
Eilish.
You like that music there, Jackson?
I've
That
never
Billie
really
Eilish?
been into Billie Eilish.
Okay. What kind of music do you like, Jackson?
A little bit of everything, but she's not an artist who I particularly peruse.
What would you say is the oldest, like, if I said to you, what old musical act do you like? Like, what would come to mind?
You're just trying to age me.
No, I'm just at, like, Rolling Stones? Like, Beatles? Like, would you go that far back? Would you, 70s, 80s?
Probably 70s.
So no Beatles?
Beatles are fine.
Neither here nor there. Okay. I hear you. You know why I ask this is that I was asked to do a segment by the millennial set down there in the promotions department called...
None of them are millennials.
Well, what are they?
They're Gen Z.
Well, what's the difference?
The age.
Yeah, I get that. So are you a millennial?
No.
What are you?
Gen Z. They are my age.
Am I a millennial? I might be.
What year were you born?
1973.
Nope. You're Gen X.
Oh, okay. I'll take that. Okay, so whatever they're called down there, the Wet Behind the Ears Brigade, they're doing what is called the generation gap. And I'm demonstrating the generation gap as I speak. So I was asked to stop by Thursday and to record a video, and I'm required to have 3 to 5 songs that I remember being very popular during my heyday, as it were, which is going to be difficult for me because I didn't listen to, when I was in my late teens and into my 20s, I was listening to old music. I was not listening to pop music. So I ran counter to the culture. So I got to figure all of that out. But I figure I'll just throw out a Nickelback song and, maybe something.
You a big Nickelback guy?
No, I hate Nickelback. Well, I don't hate Nickelback. I just don't like Nickelback. Do you like Nickelback?
They're fine.
Eh.
What's that one song?
No clue. I really stopped paying attention to, my best friend in the world, Jay St. Clair, likes to say that he stopped paying attention to pop culture in 1982. I kind of stopped paying attention to a lot of it in like 2004. That to say, I don't watch the Grammys, so I don't know a lot about the Grammys. I don't care about the Super Bowl halftime show. I will not watch the Super Bowl halftime show. I wouldn't watch the Super Bowl halftime show if it was a country music artist. I wouldn't watch the Super Bowl halftime show if it was Jackson Williams.
Hurtful.
But true.
You'd watch if I was doing it.
Okay. If somehow you got asked to do the Super Bowl halftime show, just inexplicably, like we want this guy to bring up his old ensemble a cappella group and perform on the Super Bowl halftime, which most people don't know that you did, that you don't promote very often.
I do not.
I don't even know that I'm supposed to be talking about it right now, but I would watch. You're right. I take it back. But I don't care about Bad Bunny because I'm not watching anyway. I don't care about the alternative, the Turning Point USA halftime, because I don't watch anyway.
It's bathroom time.
That is an opportunity for me to go get snacks and to go to the bathroom during the Super Bowl. That's it. But, whatever. So I've not made a comment. The reason I bring this up, I've not made a comment about Savannah Guthrie's mother, but I will admit that the nature of this true crime situation
is very intriguing.
Is very interesting. Have you been following any of this?
Oh, like a hawk.
So, do you believe? It was targeted, right?
Yeah, I think this was. They need to get their hands on that surveillance camera footage ASAP.
Had to be targeted, and now TMZ has a ransom note.
A unconfirmed ransom note. It could be just some random guy trying to stir up things.
Right. Like a false kind of deal. But if you've not been following it, it's getting a lot of attention, obviously, because it's the mother of Savannah Guthrie. Savannah Guthrie is on NBC Today Show. Savannah Guthrie was preparing to go to the Olympics in, Milan, I guess?
Italy.
Yeah.
Milan is in
Milan, Italy. Yes, correct. Both correct. And now, obviously, she's not because her mother, her 84-year-old mother, was abducted. They found signs of abduction within the home. She lived in Arizona, in an area in Arizona where it would not be easy to get to. It is not likely that this was a random thing. And TMZ reported that they have no idea whether it's credible or not, but they received a ransom note that demanded large amounts of money to be deposited in Bitcoin in some sort of account, and that they would release Savannah Guthrie's mother. So I don't know, I am a sucker for a true crime. I'm a sucker for Keith Morrison, man. You like Keith Morrison?
Is that the guy?
Yeah, murder.
Dateline, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
always watch Dateline with my parents growing up.
Oh, my. There's a fine line between Keith Morrison and, Mr. Sulu from Star Trek. Anyway, I bring it up just to say, who knows? I haven't talked about it. I'm not going to obsess over it like many in the media will, because there's nothing the media loves more than a story that has to do with someone in the media. And this is a story that has to do with someone in the media, so they're going to just eat it up. They're gobbling it up.
We should dive into it a little bit, though.
In large portions. But, yeah, I mean, where circumstances warrant. I mean, much like the Gene Hackman deal, right? Yeah, when Gene Hackman died and his wife died and nobody knew why, and they thought it was maybe somebody was in there. But now it turns out that, it's very sad because Gene Hackman had dementia. His wife apparently died from a rat-borne disease that she contracted, some sort of situation that she contracted. She fell out, and then she couldn't take care of him, and he couldn't take care of himself, so he just wasted away in the house. I mean, that's of interest. Be of interest if it was anybody, but it was Gene Hackman. This is of interest, particularly because it's Savannah Guthrie's mother. We'll follow that for you. I hope you have a wonderful evening. For Jackson Williams, for Ken Weaver, for the rest of the crew at Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy speaking and saying, hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.
Hey, this is Pastor Allen. Join us on Super Talk 7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.